Looks like we got some hammer shots here.
Oh, you know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Good. My job's done here. Welcome everybody to the St. Paul Curling Club. We're doing draw 9 of the St. Paul Cash Spiel. Starting to getting into games of significance. They're doing the draw to the button to figure out who is going to have the hammer and what stone color they have. So we're covering sheet 5 here, the show sheet. I'm here with Teresa Hoffes. Is that right, Hoffes?
That's a good pronunciation, yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why I want to say Hoffes, but two F's and 2 S's?
Correct, yep.
Yeah.
I don't know, in the curling world, I'm still known as Teresa Faltasek. That's my maiden name. And
I've heard of that name, Faltasek.
We've got a family team here. We play on Tuesdays at 4:50 with my dad, my brother, and my sister. We've been doing that for about 14 years since my little brother was quite little. We're a little bit legendary. Dad's typically yelling at us on the ice, and it's all good.
I have my daughter in junior curling, and I'm looking forward. I love seeing the families here that have generation after generation. I got into curling late in life. Only got a couple good years left of my life, so I'm going to use them curling.
It's a wise move there, Chris.
Yep.
Curling, yes, it is a great family sport, and I am very lucky to have grown up in this club. I started at the age of about 10. My dad's rules for starting, this was before they had the half sheets and the little rocks, was you had to pay attention for 2 hours, and you had to outweigh the rock.
I like that, outweigh the rock. Now, we have those little rocks, though, so that's when you get the real little rocks.
Exactly. Like I said, back in my day in 1987, we didn't have such things. So
now, 87, let me think about that. That is the year that my brother graduated high school. 87, I think.
It was a good year. I actually learned how to curl double hacking. So it's a technique where if you're little enough, you can't really get down the sheet. So you'd stick both feet in the hack, in the starting blocks, and you'd push off on your belly.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I've seen that. Did they do the thing where you, when you're really little, you sit on 3 rocks and they push you down the ice? They do that at the end of the year here, and the little kids love it.
Oh, yeah. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and she's been doing that since she was about 2, and she really enjoys that. But when I was, by the time I started, I was probably a little too big to actually do that.
I think I have to throw the same thing again.
So are you down here on Saturdays then?
I am not yet. My daughter actually, despite the fact that she's down here every Tuesday at 4:50 for the last 6 years, she has not yet gotten the curling bug in herself to do it. So we're going to wait till she's a little bit older, and she's been doing other kid things, gymnastics and different programming on Saturday mornings. But that will be in our future, I'm sure.
I brought Ruby down here because if you watch like the Canadian teams, and they're at the Briar or whatever, and it'll be like Rachel Holman, it's been curling since she's 2.5 or something like that, and it just I'm like, oh, that's incredible. So I got Ruby down here really early at 6, even though she didn't do anything, or she just did it once, and I was like, when you're in the pro curling circuit, we're gonna say
you want the
6.
Same thing?
It was when you started.
Sounds good here. We got Team Yellow, right, from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Kind of in the 12-foot here. We're waiting for.
I don't think that those will be the final rock colors. It'll be based on.
He said I threw a 45.
I think it'll be based on the final draws.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, here we got Mr. Stopera lining up for his try to win the hammer here for this game. He's got to
young Andrew Stopera.
Get a little bit better than 12
from
foots.
Chicago, Illinois. Not really, but
Line's
he
fine.
goes to college in Northwestern. So
Oh, he does. Okay.
yeah, he's from out east, and they've got 2
Hard.
guys from out west, and 1 guy
Keep
from
going.
the great state of Minnesota,
Keep going.
with the great curling name of Fenson.
Yes, another great
Keep
family
going.
team. Oh, and I think he came up a little short.
I'm just going to cruise through the different sheets and what's going on. So on sheet 1, we have Burr versus Koivula. They're both 3-1. So 2 teams out of each bracket go on to Sunday. So that's an important matchup. There's a lot of 2-2 teams as well.
In that same bracket, or?
Yeah, well, there's 2 brackets that are are playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't quite have all the
Where
information
were they?
in my head, so I have to write it down.
I see the cheat sheet here, so of
Yeah.
course I just assumed
Yeah.
you had a.
Yeah. Everybody at home, I'm sure, thinks that I've got some sort of superhuman curling intelligence, but in fact, what I have is a legal pad.
Yeah, will you need something?
This, yeah. So on sheet 2, Sobering is 0-4 versus Rittenauer, 2-2. Sheet 3 is Wilberg, who's 2-2 versus Leichter, who's 3-1. Brown is 3 on sheet 4 is 3-1 versus Hoduk, which are 0-4. They've played really well too, so it's fortunate that they're 0-4. Sheet 5, McBride is 1-3 versus Andrew Stopera, who is much more. I was gonna bust on his dad, who's sitting right next to me, but he's not listening, so never mind. Andrew Stopera is 3-1. So, and then sheet 6 is Leclerc is 2-2 versus Fenson, that's 2-2. So this McBride team is from California. Two of them are from the Los Angeles area, Orange County. That's Los Angeles, right?
I believe so.
And 2 of them are from San Francisco, and they're telling me that they just signed a lease on a dedicated ice facility out there.
Well, that's excellent.
And they're raising money for it, so it's expensive, and none of the Silicon Valley people are willing to pitch in, but we are.
I was actually one of the is it the lead? What's
Okay, that's the
who's playing? Okay, for McBride here.
Joel Calhoun.
Yeah, Eric Jensen actually the third is out of North Dakota, and he just moved out to the San Francisco area. I was talking to his dad, Dave Jensen, who's a big programmer here with the USCA for the junior programs.
Oh.
And he said that Eric had moved out there about a year ago, and so I was joking with him because Eric's older sister Steph, who I played with here in St. Paul when she was here after college, is now out in California as well with her husband. I can't recall his name at the moment, and I think she and her husband are playing some mixed doubles maybe, or different things. I kind of keep up with her on Facebook, but both Eric and Stephanie very good curlers in their own right. So.
Let me just run down the lineup of the team. So on McBride, we have Joel Calhoun as lead.
Yep.
Sean Franey as second. Eric Jensen is third. And Justin McBride is their skip. And on the Stopera rink, Graham Fenson is lead. Ben Richardson is second. Luke Violet is third. And Andrew Stopera is fourth, or lead. So they're having... it looks like, so McBride is yellow. Going to write that down.
This is Leeds' second rock here, trying to draw in behind their own corner. Looking like decent for weight here. I don't know how much these sheets are moving here. I know the ice crew works really hard to make sure they have really good quality ice. It comes up just a little bit short. My understanding is this McBride team is going to be playing at the clubs level this year, so they're here getting some practice in, and they've been a foursome for a total of about 3 weeks. So, ooh, and my pizza's here. Feel free. This is the chicken artichoke.
What?
Chicken artichoke.
On a pizza?
Well, what the heck?
You can't put chicken on a pizza. That's crazy.
It's good stuff.
Oh, okay. I might try it.
All right, looks like Stopera's giving a little more ice here to try and come around as well. Both skips for their hammer shots were
tons of room.
a little bit short to the ring, so I'm just wondering if it was a little bit fudgy during their practicing. So we'll see. This looks like it's got plenty of weight on it. Oh, he's playing the tap. Okay. Really nice weight.
Okay, decent plan B.
Fortunately, it'll come over a little bit more, but chunk in the open here for McBride to.
This opening is a little different than we've seen most of these teams. Seems like we've had, usually there's kind of cleaner at the first end. They tend to have a little bit more hits or higher guards. So this is a little interesting.
Well, part of it maybe just as they're coming in the ninth draw of the tournament, they're maybe getting a little more familiar with the ice and what it's doing and the speed, so they're maybe trying to be a little bit more aggressive. Traditionally, if you have a very, very strong team and they're just amazing at their hits and rolls, sometimes it is to your advantage to play a little bit more of a junk game or a little bit more clutter. Kind of eke a few in there and take your chances, where if you're playing that blank kind of game and you're not executing them really well, or you're hitting and rolling out, you have a little less to work with. So could be one strategy McBride is using here against slightly more experienced Stopera rink.
I certainly think that it's more fun to watch and call a junkier game.
You know, and as the 5 rock free guard rule comes into play here, that's going to be kind of more the way the curling game is going to be going. A little more aggressive and interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, well, when is it going to end? It's going to be like end up being like seven rock or 8 rock.
Yep.
Yeah, that might be a little bit pushing it. I'm not. Is the 5 rock? Do you know, Chris? Is that going to be instrumented this year, or is that
next year?
Next year. Okay, so after the Olympic cycle. Ooh, well, that didn't work out so good.
Yeah, and I don't know how that works as far as. Oh.
Just throw it anyway.
How that works as far as the so is that naturally the clubs just adopt that?
I guess I would guess so. I don't know. I'm on the board here at the St. Paul Curling Club, and I'll maybe ask that at our next board meeting what their thoughts are for that. My assumption is yes, because you're going to want people to be playing the real game, and 5 rock is where it's at. So this one looks a little bit tight. Got some good movement there. Got a little bit better angle here to get back on the red one if he needs to.
At the very beginning of the game, because they don't assign the rock colors, I have to kind of slowly work my way from left to right and observe what the colors are, because I can't keep track of them, of each of the teams, so that it's easy to say where we are when I go back to the score.
For sure, absolutely.
It would be nice, you know, if we had the funding available, it'd be nice to have digital scoreboards back there.
Well, now you're talking, Chris.
Yeah. You are on the board. Now that I've learned that, I'm going to be feeding you with all sorts of things that I need.
Hard.
You know, I'm definitely
Keep going. Hard.
pro technology, getting the more amateur pro curling things to watch, and I know we've been looking at cameras and stuff like that, but it's a harder sell when many members really would just, they want to come down and curl, and they want to do it at a reasonable price point, and I totally understand that. Being fortunate enough to grow up in this club and then also play competitively myself, I really enjoy when I get to watch my friends online on YouTube. It's awesome. And I feel like that brings me a lot of satisfaction and joy, but that's not for everybody. Some people just want to come down and make it like a bowling league, and that's good too. So
it's interesting. Part of me, I've got mixed feelings about how much money, you know, it's hard to put a value of what it's worth as far as like improving. Like I like technology, so I would like to have the best of the best. I mean, if you want to consider our club to be, you know, one of the best or the best in the region or the country, or if that's what you're striving for, that's what clubs have these days. You know, they have, and so on one hand, that I think is a very compelling argument. So the longer you are behind, you know, the harder it's going to get back. So someday you're going to have to do it.
Whoa.
But the other thing is like the viewership for these things isn't huge. But what's great about it is like particularly in the juniors. We did the juniors last year. We web streamed the whole week, and all these parents like from all across the country were you know, had relatives back at home that could watch the matches, and you know, they're not can't travel, and so they all were super appreciative.
Absolutely, and with good quality. I agree. That will make it more accessible for more people and just keep growing the sport, right? You know, we have this conversation in my household a lot. My husband is a computer security person. He loves technology. He loves Ooh, we're a little tight here. He might get the back one the other way. Just a little tight. I think he's got, kind of when he released that, he kind of turned it in a little bit there. But that's not a terrible result, actually.
Did you see, though, Justin back there in the house, he was sweeping, and he had his legs at, I don't know, maybe 3 and 9. And while he was walking, the rock, he just let the rock go right through. He didn't even break a stride, and it just like crossed it. I was like, wow, that guy knows what he's doing. I can tell by his fancy footwork.
Fancy footwork, I agree. I agree. So yeah, every few years my husband's like, well, it's time for a new computer, a setup, and I'm always kind of pushing back. So as much as I want to see that for the whole club, I do understand the budgetary point, and I do kind of rein him in a little bit on the technology in the household, or we'd be having new things every 6 months.
You don't want to force something. You want to build some sort of consensus and have a good plan.
Yes. Yes. So
and I'm going to help do that by just really belaboring any sort of technological inefficiency or issue that we have in the club.
I think that's a great way to do it. Just make people aware. And sometimes, if you don't know, you don't know, right? I'm not a technology person at all, so I have no idea. A, what the flaws are, and B, what could be done to make them better, and then what better looks like.
Yeah.
I know what better looks like when you guys show up, and it's like, wow, camera angles and sheets and. It's amazing.
Yep.
All right, here. Looks like he's just playing the split the house technique here. Supers are just guiding it in.
Just top 4 weight.
Looks a little bit.
Just top 4.
I think he's going to have a nice shot here. Pretty even him up is what they're going for. Excellent. I think he'll be pleased with that. It's a pretty flat roll. Get it close, but that'll be a pretty tough double. Just realizing, being on the mic here, it's going to be hard to eat this pizza. I'll take the...
Oh, I can mute it when you want.
Oh, can you? That'd be great. Yeah, do that.
Little does Teresa know, I didn't mute it. We're listening to chewing. Chew, chew. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't mute the... Oh.
Yeah, I gotta roll this way. You think it's gonna run straight?
He knows that that sets up a double.
All right, I've got all the colors figured out, so that should make me significantly more efficient.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty interesting house. Nice line of rocks.
I guess I'm back online here.
Yeah.
Chris
How's that chicken pizza?
Yeah, Chris from the restaurant she steered me well. It's a chicken artichoke, and it's got a white sauce on it, and I really have been enjoying it. Mr. Stopera here is lining up for his hit and stay. Shot
Hard!
I've noticed that
Right
this
to
is
it.
a higher level
Hard.
shot than I could ever do, but a lot of people, when they're really close like that, they're able to hit it and then roll right over and knock the other one out. Which those like kind of parallel doubles, I think, are pretty impressive.
They are pretty impressive, yes. I think he was just playing for the hit and stay there, and he rolled a little bit closer to the other one, but it kind of over.
But if he would have
here.
Brooklyned it, it might have gone over there.
Well, perhaps.
Familiar with that term?
I'm not really sure. What is that?
Really? Well, there you go. I learned it. Apparently, it's a bowling term, but it's when you hit you're doing a takeout and you hit it on the wrong side. So if you're trying to be on the in-turn side, you hit it on the out-turn side, then you Brooklyned it.
Okay, I'd never heard that before, Chris. This is
Dennis this morning, I used it ad nauseum, And he was like, please don't say that ever again. He said, it's a bowling term. I don't like using it in curling, but I learned it doing this. Last time I learned the term pair of pants, and this time I learned Brooklyn, something like that. I don't quite have the usage down, so that's why I try to overuse it.
As long as you're getting the message across, it probably doesn't matter what terms you use. Oh, this one looks a little wide.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of weight. I mean, it might move over,
I don't
but
think so. He's
it's
trying
not,
that sweep
yeah.
style, but just at the end there, he kind of came out and he for better or for worse, threw it back outside to get back on line, and it was just enough.
I actually didn't hate
So
it.
you're
I knew like that was.
I've never met you before, I don't
That's how
think.
it's feel.
So this is pretty exciting. And
right.
Maureen suggested that you would be good because you've done this. You've played in the Spiel.
Top 4.
I have played in the Spiel. In fact, I started playing the Spiel when it was many years ago, and it was back over Thanksgiving weekend. This was, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. Forever it was on Thanksgiving weekend. And then with the onset of the World Curling Tour and wanting to get better Spiels earlier for our American curlers and Canadians too, they moved it to this early October weekend, and then they've had
Because it has a little bit of, fits in more significance in the.
Exactly for the World Curling Tour points, and so I've played in it a few seasons when it's been in this October draw, but I've kept up with my club curling, not as much competitive stuff in the last 6 years. I have a 6-year-old daughter, as we talked about earlier, and
What's her name?
her name is Gwyneth.
Gwyneth.
Yeah,
I like that name.
she's well, I like the name Ruby, so that we're even.
What's her middle name?
Therese, actually.
Line's
so it's
good.
not necessarily after me.
Line's good.
My name is spelled with an A at the end, Teresa.
Line's real good.
But I was reading a really interesting novel when I was pregnant with her, and I really liked this one character, and her name was Therese
All right,
with an
Ben.
E at the end. So
Keep
I guess
going.
that's what we went with.
We were going to call her, Ruby's middle name is Rose.
Good.
And we wanted to go, looking back, I don't know why this decision was made, but we wanted to call her Ruby Rosa Lisney. And somebody talked us out of it, said, oh, Rosa is just too ethnic or something like that. So we went with Ruby Rose, which is fine. It's a nice name. And we had a couple alternatives, and a picture just came up in my feed of like hospital pictures. And some of them, one of them was Ruby Audrey Lisney, and one was Ruby Cecilia Lisney. And they just sound so odd and weird. Like, I don't know why we would have even considered them. But we were considering Audrey. I like that name, Audrey.
Well, I like Cecilia too. I mean, they're both great. They're all great names, but it's interesting because Cecilia seems to be more in that Hispanic sort of Rosa.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Part of the reason, now this is going to sound really strange, but there was a guy from the Dominican Republic that I read a book about, and his name was Porfino Rubirosa. And he was a gigolo.
Okay.
And he married like Jaja Gabor. He was married her. He married a lot of women and then would get divorced and then would get a big settlement. And he was a Ferrari driver. And apparently he was well endowed as well. In the
gotta go though.
whatever. And he lived a really rock star lifestyle. And we always liked the name Ruby Rosa.
Okay.
So we thought, well, Ruby Rosa.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then that has a interesting. That also might have played into why we didn't say Rosa.
Go with Rosa. Yep. I
Might
hear
be
you
smart.
there.
Ruby's not old enough to hear that story.
Not yet. I would save that one for I don't know when.
I need some technical help here. I need somebody to figure out how to pull up the live stream on this.
All right, so we're in N2 here. McBride throwing their second leads rocks here, I think. We've got 2 Stopera counters in there going for the corner guard strategy.
2, 3. Easy. I don't want to throw too much more. Okay, that's fine.
Stopera trying to just keep it clean and keep his counters in. Get an end of a force. Pretty routine shot here for the second.
Yep.
Off and away.
Hard roll.
That's,
Keep going.
curled
Keep
a little bit
going.
more than he wanted it to, but
Still got the job done.
well, it kind of leaves him a a
The
corner
opposite
guard of
side, yeah.
But that's okay. It's a little bit away from the action right now in the middle. So.
You're the first person that's done this web stream with me that's corrected me. Not true. I don't know what. I really don't know what I'm talking about up here.
Oh, you make a good story though, Chris.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam. Adam got me hooked up on the live chat, I think.
Oh, good. So how many people we got viewing with us today?
2017. It says 2017 St. Paul Curling Club Cash Spiel.
Yeah, that's the year, Chris.
34. We have 34
okay.
watching.
So this looks like maybe they're looking for weight, but they need to wait for line.
Could you hand me that stopwatch over there?
Sure. See where we're coming up for draws. Finished with a really good line there, being a little more weight.
Board.
So he's calling to slice the one out of the house here. The miss here would be to be a little bit tight and blow his own guard off. In this case, you always want to, at this level, you want to kind of think of which way, if you're gonna air, which way you want to air. So that would be a little tight. See how his nice clean release.
Oh.
He's calling for board weight.
Yep.
This looks pretty
whoa,
close.
Whoa, whoa. Yep. Yes.
Really?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Nice shot. Oh, and he's under the pile.
I liked how close he got to the rock to see the hit.
Yeah, I think that's a really good strategic move that more of the higher level curlers will opt to do. You really get in behind that rock. And they teach you early. And
the problem I have with that is that means you have to get up quickly.
This is true. You have to be a little dexterous.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. He just threw
It's
it.
easier at that age.
For
sure.
Mean, I understand why he threw it that way, but it was almost normal.
I suffered from vertigo. I had a big problem with vertigo for a while, and kind of went away. But I noticed when I curl, when I get up, I get just a little bit lightheaded, and I have to be a little careful.
Yeah, makes sense. We've definitely had some people fall on the ice here. Definitely in league play, not so much in major competitions, but it is something to be aware of.
Honestly, here is pretty good.
Don't want to take it lightly.
I watched a fall that has caused me lots of grief and post-traumatic stress.
Oh, really?
On a setup we set up last year for this event, and we ended up, someone fell and
Yes.
bled out, had a lot of blood on the ice, and we had to take him to the hospital and spent the night. It was really scary.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Made me really fearful of, I don't like ladders, but fearful of ladders on ice. So.
Yeah, that's something I would be a little scared of as well. I always kind of I wanted to come down and see, like, oh, do you put a carpet on the ice and then put the ladder on the carpet? Like,
boy, that would make some sense. But that might leave some stuff on the ice, I suppose. But I like that idea of carpet. No, it's.
I just don't know how.
But having somebody hold it and yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that person ended up being okay.
Yes.
Close. Yep. Yep. Hard shot. Yep.
Didn't seem like there was much movement.
Honestly, nose isn't bad. Little roll to here.
Fortunately, they're playing a little defensively. They're just trying to get out of the end without looking at a pile, I think, for their last shot. For that last shot, he wanted to roll over closer to the red one and didn't get the roll he wanted.
Whoa. Whoa. Close. Whoa. 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 Good.
That's one thing that we're looking at. So the overhead cameras are not of the highest quality, and they don't, in order to connect them together on like a web stream or basically a web stream broadcast, the way we're doing it is all IP based, so we need those to communicate on IP. They go through a security system now. So it'd be really nice if you could pull that up so the viewers, at home could look at that, or we could look at it. I could pull it up on my little iPad
Sure, and
here.
then see if it's really close. Yeah, like the big time broadcasting. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I can see from here that it's really close.
Yeah.
But you can tell exactly what it is.
Yep, go, yep. Yep, fine, hard son. Hard son, come on.
They need to be on this a little sooner.
Yeah,
They're
sure.
going to be by it. They're going to be by it. Come on. Oh, I thought they were by it. Shoot.
Which way do we got to play it?
You had really good weight there. You just needed to get on that a little sooner.
No, I think we just...
And that'll come with
Just wondering
time.
if we
Like I
can
said,
make it with the outside,
these
probably
guys,
not,
McBride,
right?
have only been playing together for about 3 weeks. A few of them are arena curlers
just
out
go
in the
here.
San Francisco area. So, you know, that takes a little bit of adjustment. And LA, you said LA as well.
Yeah,
So
it's fine.
So where do you suppose they practice?
You like
that's
that?
a good question.
Two?
I'm guessing they probably do 2 and 2, right? Like
Yeah.
some of them
It'll
play at
curl.
LA and then
Ben's
the other
curled,
ones.
so...
And they've got Eric, you know,
like
on their
this ice?
team.
I mean,
He's a
you
really
almost
great
do
asset.
2 on
He
it,
can
right?
definitely lend some
I got 10 seconds on it.
pointers for different things, but that'll come. And
Yeah.
at the club level, it's a little bit more forgiving.
Fucking
This is
Christ, this sucks.
definitely the more elite
Yeah.
level, but
You think that's enough?
this is how, you know, we always used to say you have to play at the elite level to kind of get beat up a lot and sow your oats
Yeah.
and figure it out. And you're only really as good as your competition, Chris. So if you don't play really good competition, you never really
ready
escalate
to
the
go
bar.
Yeah.
So
Well,
be ready to go on.
that's the one reason why I'm thinking about disbanding my Saturday junior team so that I can move up to maybe a Sunday night team where I can get some real competition.
There you go.
That joke didn't work at all. I tried, but it just didn't work.
Well,
Whoa!
there you go.
Yep! Whoa! Whoa!
I too curl on Tuesdays. I curl at the 7 and 9.
This is my dad. He's coming to say hello. She's not here yet. Yeah. Got my dad's here, and he. I was telling him he should come down mid-draw because my daughter's going to come down. My husband's leaving to go play with his friends, so I said, well, I might need a helper. Oh, and you got the new coloring book for the 6-year-old. Thanks, Grandpa.
Wow,
Very
that
nice.
looks, is that an otter?
It's an otter.
That looks a little bit too complex for a 6-year-old.
Well, he was.
Look at this. What does it say over here in the left-hand corner? Age 8.
So,
Yeah.
so Grandpa Mark in our household, he comes over. My dad and I live about 2 miles apart, with the university splitting us. And every once in a while, he'll just show up at my house after work, and we feed him dinner. And he says, "Hey, I got some trinkets." He goes to Menards a lot, so all the Menards bucks come as trinkets to my house for my 6-year-old. And you know, if he doesn't bring trinkets over,
He goes to Menards a lot.
a lot.
Does he like building stuff?
He likes just free things. So he will buy every tool, every sock, anything that he can buy at Menards, he will buy at Menards. Probably his closest department store to his house too, so that doesn't hurt. But yeah, if Grandpa Mark doesn't come over with trinkets, you know, he's kind of in the doghouse. So
That can be dangerous. Not necessarily for a grandparent, but a parent.
oh, for sure.
It's really easy to be like, oh yeah, every time I go to Menards, I get you know, in our house, every time you go to a liquor store, you know, there's you get popsicle or a sucker there. And like,
Yep.
that makes no sense. Well, it makes a lot of sense, but
Those liquor store owners, they know it.
I like saying no and just being kind of random about it. But
I think we should ask Tyler George what he does at his liquor store. Does he give up lollipops or
Yeah, but-
other treats?
yeah, I didn't do a very good job negotiating. Last night he said that he would give me a 10% discount on any purchase there. And I asked him what his margin on a bottle of Jameson was, and he said 25 to 30. And I said, just 10%?
Well,
He said, well, I don't really know you. I'm like,
yes.
Okay.
And he's got to he's got to pay for his curling, you know.
Yeah.
He's got to be around.
So Andrew throws
Whoa.
his rock.
Whoa!
Off and away. He looks like a really good
Whoa!
shot
Yeah.
here. He's got a good margin.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Nice work.
I really like seeing how teams communicate.
Pretty good.
And all the skips that we have mic'd communicate significantly better than most of the skips. Not most, but a lot of the teams that I play against on Tuesdays and Sundays. Not that they don't communicate,
You're
but
right.
these
I was
guys
like,
obviously.
whoa, and then I was like,
I mean,
oh,
that's
yeah,
the
gotta
key
go a little bit.
or a key.
No, I
It is the key, and I know they've been
I just
definitely
thought it looked
working
good to me, and I
hard
was
on
like,
that
we could
with
probably
the junior programs and the different, when I was doing juniors, we only had kind of one format, and now they have the U18, the U21, international competitions, and so they've put a lot of work into giving juniors lots of different opportunities to play at lots of different levels, and really grooming them for this higher level competition. The communication is big. If you look at their sweeping styles, I know they do a lot of work just filming sweeping actually, and you can see with the Stopera rink, they have the flat backs, the really good rapid arm movements, kind of key one-sided sweeping when they need it, and it's definitely apparent, and not that you can't do a good job sweeping in the club level, but when you get to these higher levels, that sweeping and that communication is really what's going to differentiate you from the club curler.
So Rebecca Clark has chimed in from Arizona. She's excited that apparently she likes the California team.
Oh, excellent. Who do you know on the California team?
She's from California.
Okay.
See, the lead is tough for the lead stats.
I was thinking, I don't know if we can do this. This might be too complex, but I noticed there's a lot of baseball caps out there. There must be at least 8 or 9. Maybe we can choose by the time we're done here which cap is the best.
Can I get some binoculars? Because I can't see all the logos very well.
No, you cannot get binoculars.
Well, then that's not going to help me. Plus, I'm not so good on my baseball teams. The B here, this must be like the Boston Red Sox, maybe.
Well, why is that important? We're just doing it by appearance. Like, how does that person look with that hat?
I see. Okay, so this is a modeling competition with the baseball hats. Nothing to do with the teams. All right. I can get into that then.
There are a number of really good hats, like the Hodek rink. Check out Tim Hodek's. He's farmer's kid from North Dakota.
Okay.
He's got just a great hat.
Yep,
which,
Luke.
when I looked at it, I was like, that guy's got to be a farmer's kid. I mean, it just
All
looks
the way,
like.
Luke.
Yeah, I really like it.
Keep going. Fine.
Oh, well, Rebecca knows all of them.
Oh, excellent.
They are bromancing the stone, and they come to the Coyotes Curling Club all the time for their spiels.
Oh, that's super fun.
She also says they can't handle their liquor. No, she started curling in 2014 in Arizona.
Excellent. So this looks a little hot here by their lead. Stopera rink's just going to keep it simple. They're going to keep throwing a bunch of rocks in the house above the tee line, and then kind of force the McBride rink here to make some shots, a little more precision. And then they can afford to do that because now they're up 4-0, right? Did they get, Stopera got 2 last end, or is it just 1?
I wasn't paying attention, I'm sorry.
2, there you go.
Dad over there.
Yep, Dad's
Thanks,
keeping
Dad.
us honest. So Bill, where are these guys going next for competition? Do you know?
Yep.
Ottawa Super Spiel?
Yep. Yep.
Great.
Hard.
And when is that
Hard
happening?
right to it. Hard.
Okay.
Hard.
So they got a good schedule here lined up. They're going to this Ottawa Super Spiel, biggest junior event apparently.
No, I saw that one.
In North America?
They both.
In the world? Whew.
So
It's a lot of pressure. They'll handle it, yeah. They've got ice running through their veins.
And how many years, Bill, has this foursome been playing together? Just 2 years? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of, that's the thing, you have a kid and you kind of lose track of all the people, and then of course all these people have kids, and then the kids get really good, and then it's like I'm really good at the parent level, and then the kid level comes in, and I'm not quite there.
So Bill was good, is what you're saying.
I think Bill's pretty good.
He is good.
He
Not
is good.
was
Yes,
good.
he is good. He is good.
Yeah, I would say he's good. Yeah.
Yep.
Good
Yep.
job. Yeah. You took away one of my commentators. Thanks.
Yep. Yes. Really hard.
It's all good.
Hard.
Wow. Every time I look down there, I see a lot of red stones.
Yeah, they're throwing some heat too. Well, they can, like I said, they can afford to be So yellow here, McBride rink, is just looking for some cover. So they're going to be throwing a lot of freezes, which is what they need to do here to catch up.
Uh-oh.
You get down early with a big lead with a really experienced team. You're going to be throwing a lot of draws and a lot of freezes to try and force a little action in the house.
Yeah, waiting for a miss or something.
Yeah, you can't be just leaving them wide open hits anymore. You really got to junk it up and get in there to make some make the other team make a few errors.
Wreck there.
Yep. Not quite. I don't think they're quite giving themselves enough ice. I think just their handles, they don't have as much rotation on the rock as the Stopera rink, which is very common, especially at the club level. You're just there to throw kind of consistently. But as you get up in the ranks, you learn how important it is to throw bigger rotation, usually 3 to 4 rotations, sometimes more depending on the shot.
Yeah, I've really noticed that in my playing. Not that, but I started late curling, and I decided that I wanted to take some lessons, and a couple people helped me out early on, and I developed a technique that I could practice. And one of those was working on the rotations. And so when I practice, like the first thing I do in the season is try to get it so that I can do consistent 3 to 4 rotations.
That's excellent, Chris. That's a really good skill to have.
But then when I get to club curling, nobody on my teams, or like my Sunday team, like, you know, like they're like, you're like spinning the rock way too much. Like, I think that's your problem. And I'm like, well, actually,
you need to broom me for that.
I've been working on that.
Yes.
So, so maybe I need to have a different amount of ice than the other.
Exactly. Yep. You need to narrow your ice up when you're throwing more rotation. My dad and I went through that. So we've been, like I said, we've been playing together forever, and on this league team now with my siblings. And when I first started changing my rotation to throw that consistently more, it was then different than my dad's throwing, and so he had to adjust the broom. And then since then, he has started to throw a little bit more rotation on his own rock, and that does kind of help us. We're a pretty good force to be reckoned with just because we know each other's kind of idiosyncrasies, and we've learned how to broom each other. So that's been a really good asset for our team. And
Clean. Yep. Yes. Good.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, he would have just as much liked to double those off, but that's a good result as well. They didn't really want any junk in the back of the house there behind the tee line, but he's happy enough with that. Getting ready yellow is really all they need to do. And these guys from California here, they have decently consistent delivery, so that does help them out. And like I said, this is kind of their tune-up for their clubs, club state. So this is just giving them some practice to learn, how they play together, how they communicate, and even if they show up and lose every game, if you're in it and you're just consistently trying to learn from each other, that's really what they're after here, probably for this.
There's
Spiel.
like this much separation, so
I think I'm going to do a roundup and try to update the scores. Of
yeah,
what
you do.
going
You
on.
do that.
You might get everything, that's okay.
It looks like Koivula is up 3-0 over Bursrink.
Ooh, and then Todd just threw one through, it looks like. Oh, Todd.
Yep.
It's not usually his problem.
Hard.
Yeah. We'll probably get
yes.
John Benton will probably come off the ice saying how much he hates St. Paul ice again.
Well.
Sheet 2 is, I can't quite see. There's heads in the way, but I think it might be 2. It's Rittenauer's 2, Sobering is 0. I think yellow has 2.
I think you're right. I can kind of see a white marker behind that tall guy.
Yep. Then on sheet 3, it looks like it is 3-1. Leichter over Wilberg. Sheet 4 looks like it's 4-0. Brown over Hodek. And then we're here 4-0. Stopera over McBride. And sheet 6, God, they stand in front of the things.
It's 2 to 1.
I think it's 2-1.
Yeah.
It's the same shot again.
Fenson over Leclerc.
Now, Chris, I haven't been watching that many draws on this. Have they only been using 6 sheets for the whole?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, they do. We had one where we had 7.
Okay.
And then they had one where they didn't play on 1. They played on 7, which I thought was curious. But I asked Mr. Stolt about why that was, and he said that they make a really, they try to make it so that you don't play on the same sheet 2 draws in a row.
Yes, that's key.
And so when you're figuring all that out, you sometimes have to be creative and push someone over here or do whatever. So I knew there was a method to all the madness.
Absolutely. It's actually kind of nice for viewing parties to not have every single sheet going and kind of focus your energies a little bit more. Now this is a great shot. Sweep it under that guard, yep. Oh, and he's out. Okay, perfect. Really nice.
Okay.
The purses here, they've set the purses, so in the men's, the champ is going to get $4,000. The second place finisher will be $2,500. The 2 quarterfinal finalists will get $1,600, and the 4, I don't know what that lowest level is, but the team of 8 finalists, they get $1,000. And on the women's side, there's only 6 teams, so the top 4 teams move on. And the champion gets $1,600, the semifinalist gets $1,100, and then the 2 quarterfinalists will get $650, which covers their entry fee.
It's not a bad deal. It's a good.
Maureen wanted me to point out that she said she always gets questions about why the women's was lower than the men's, and she said there's just there's only 6 teams, and that 4 of those teams are all going to get money, 4 of the 6. So she says it's very equitable and fair, and I would trust her.
Yeah, they've been running it.
She is a force.
She is a great force. She and her husband Pete have been playing mixed doubles at a very elite level for several years. Maureen and I are locker buddies here, so I kind of catch up with her most of the season. But she plays out of here, and I believe in Blaine.
Yep.
She lives up a little closer to Blaine, I believe.
Well, when I told her this morning that you were coming over, her face lit up. She was pretty excited.
Oh, she's a great lady. Working for Target here for many years.
I wonder if she would want to come up and talk with you. That might be kind of fun.
Is she in the house? I haven't seen her.
Yeah, I had Pete on.
Good, yeah. Get her on. I actually haven't spoke with her through most of the summer. I wonder what else she's been up to.
So I find when games get to this point, calling them gets a little bit dull.
It's a little dull, but one thing you can point out is strategy. Like again, continuous blanking efforts or
drawing down.
Exactly. It can get a little routine, but at the same time, this is the chance for the Stopera rink to really practice staying in their heads and focusing. And yes, it looks like it's a runaway game, but if the other team starts getting some really great draws in there and forcing them to make tough shots, and they haven't been paying attention for a couple ends, that's when you can kind of get a jump on better teams. So this is a mental practice sort of game for the Stopera rink.
Yeah, I could see also being like a good exercise if you feel like you have the game firmly in control. Just an exercise in staying focused, just like because it could be on the opposite side. Like you could be way behind, and you might lose focus, and then you're definitely not going to get caught up. So just learning how to maintain focus has got to be good for the psychology of a team.
Absolutely.
So did you curl in a lot of like junior events and things like that?
Yeah, so my junior career started, I didn't start.
Are you on the wall over there?
I am on the wall actually a couple times.
Really? So as I meet people and then I curl over here, I start seeing them on the wall. And I want to be on that wall.
You know what? It's a great goal.
Well, we're out of space, but
we're out of space. But I know
we're talking about the wall on the to our left, and it's got all the banners of state champions, national champions. It kind of coats the whole. I mean, most curling clubs have that. So
I think they do. We're looking at how to shrink the posters somehow and redo them, but it's a kind of never-ending battle, right? And you hope you have more championships to recognize. So. Or champions, I should say.
So anyways, you're saying you started your curling or junior career?
Yeah, back in, I want to say 1993, I played in the state tournament here in Minnesota in Hibbing. There's only a few junior women's teams at that point. So, well, women's has always been a little bit lower than men. So I played juniors out of Minnesota for a few years, and then I went to college. And I was invited to play on a team out of Nebraska, actually. And that was the year that everything clicked, and we went out to New York and we played in the Nationals, and we won it that year. That was in 1996.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was very unexpected, but we had a good week and we played really hard. And we headed to Red Deer, Alberta, Canada that year in 96, and then the world circuit really showed us how it was done, and we struggled, but it was a really great learning experience, and it kind of opened the door for me for when I was done with college and wanting to play women's. And then I was back home here in St. Paul and invited by Margie Smith and a lot of her friends and connections to play with her. So I played women's with Margie for a lot of the early 2000s, and it was an awesome experience. Margie is one of my dearest friends in the whole world, curling or not, and it's kind of made my career, and it's been just a pleasure.
Line's not bad.
And while we probably never made it super big, we were always kind of in the thick of
good.
things and playing all the winners and all the national and Olympic competitors, and that was always fun. I love coming back to this cash Spiel every year because I see friends of mine that I might see once or twice a year. And you know, someday I'm hoping maybe to play seniors. I think that that's going to be a really good circuit for a lot of us, especially the women that kind of drop out in their 30s and 40s to have babies and do the family thing. I foresee that seniors bracket 50 and older, you know, 50 is the new 40, right? So I see that being really competitive in the future.
Do you think that I've got friends that, you know, when they in our teams, when they get married and they have kids and everything, do you think men drop out the same kind of I mean, I guess you're talking about dropping out from the competitive, like a competitive circuit, which requires a ton of travel.
Right.
And I don't feel that that's necessarily as true.
On the men's side, I don't think it is as true. I think that at least for my generation, and I'm talking, you know, to the 35 to 45 kind of era.
Yeah.
You know, many of the men that I know that still play, you know, Craig Brown, John Schuster, they have amazingly supportive spouses and families that can help take care of their kids when they're traveling. And those two men in particular, they have wives that work and have their own professions, and they each have 2 kids. And, you know, I know that they get a lot of help, and that's awesome, and that's great. It doesn't always work for the opposite, and you know, obviously we have a lot of amazing moms too, you know, Allison Pottinger and Natalie Nicholson and Erica Brown. I mean, they have done it, but I do have a lot of people in sort of my generation that also chose not to do that. And
I think Jennifer Jones is a mom too.
Yep, I think you're right. There's a lot, you know, and it can be done, but it definitely you have to prioritize a little bit differently. And my husband.
That's one of the things. Like, I would never be I mean, I started curling when I was 40, so I'm not. Well, I could potentially, I suppose, but I'm never be a competitive curler. And just looking at the schedule, like what if I wanted to, what you'd have to do, and you know, I have a family, and I just my heart couldn't do it. My gut, I would feel. You know, yeah, it just wouldn't. I mean, I have a hard time doing a bond spiel, but that's just partly because I don't have the guts to say this is what I'd like to do. But
well, and part of that too is at least I know for a lot of the women I just mentioned, you know, they played a lot when their kids were really young, and now that their kids are a little bit older, a few of those women have sort of semi-retired, maybe fully retired, but I never want to say that for sure, but. So, you know, sometimes it's a little easier to miss some of those baby years, but then as your kids get more involved in things, you really want to be there for that.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, as Ruby's, time goes so fast. Like, I mean, I remember when she was a baby thinking, boy, she's really growing up fast, and saying I was going to miss that period of time. But every year I'm like, I'm going to miss this period of time. So hopefully it just keeps getting better and better, but
I think it will, right? I mean, and the thing is, you know, Margie has really always been really good for me in that respect because she played through her whole boys' lives, right? Her boys are now in their mid to late 20s, and she was always like, you know, someday they're going to leave home, and you have to have your own thing that you've been doing. And she's got, I mean, everybody in the world knows Margie Smith, and
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Well, I will have to introduce you.
I did email with her. I think she was on the list. So, because I noticed that the people that I was asking to curl were people that, or to commentate, were people that I've interacted with, and I didn't have very many women on.
Unless you like
Oh,
playing
And
this
so,
away.
and I was like, well, there's going to be women events, and it seems weird to have just a completely male-oriented crew.
You can nose it,
And so she gave me a whole list of people.
Okay.
Not a huge list, but I just, you know, there's like 3 or 4 people, and I just emailed them all. And, yeah.
Yeah, I think she has a brand new baby girl granddaughter who was just born last week in Jacksonville, Florida. So I think she and her husband are down there this weekend, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So.
Hard.
But anyway, she was always a big proponent of still playing, but obviously trying to be there for her kids when she could. So it's a balancing act, right? Everybody's got their priorities, and
Curling for me, like I don't remember where I spent my time before Ruby was born. I'm sure I was passionate about something because I tend to go, you know, hog wild on whatever I'm into. But then I kind of got into curling when I got to the age where it was like, well, I can go out a couple nights a week. It's not, you know, like when Ruby was old enough that it wasn't like we're dealing with staying up all night, or, you know, we're on a good schedule. We can get things planned out. And so, yeah, so I discovered that afterwards. So hopefully that'll take me from the time she's gone from the house, which will be when she's 40.
when she's 40, you're going to keep Ruby Holt till she's 40.
Yeah, well, I'm going to need it because when let's see here, when she's 20, I will be, let's see, that'll be 11 years from now. So I will be 56. I think
That's not very old.
Yeah, I think I can handle
Singles
that.
okay.
You'll be just fine. I mean, I don't think my dad started curling till must have been close to
We could.
maybe close
I
to
just don't know
30,
what
and
like here.
I mean, he just
I think now,
What?
you know Jordan?
yeah.
Yeah, so I think
there's
Jordan,
A lot of space.
Talking about Jordan Moulton?
no,
maybe I don't know
Jordan
Jordan.
Wickland.
2 rocks.
Oh, I don't know Jordan Wickland.
I think he knows your dad, but so Jordan and I do this podcast together, Stonecast.
Yes, and I've listened to a few episodes.
Oh.
Quite
You gotta
good.
be here.
Yes.
And so, I think that's where I know your
Okay, go here.
Fultasec
Name. Okay. So Stopera is just keeping this clean here. This is one of these. This is a great shot just for, again, routine things that you don't want to be missing, and good practice for the Stopera rink.
Whoa. Whoa.
Whew.
Whoa. Whoa.
Get over on sheet
Oh, yeah,
one.
it's fine.
Koivla is up
Nice shot.
5-0 over Burr.
Burr must be struggling today with his draw weight. I haven't been watching that game really closely, but that's surprising because usually Burr is pretty steady Eddie with his
I was just trying to smash it into the
draws. The nice thing about that, the thing I love about the Burr rink is that they just don't get at least visibly ruffled. He's just always calm.
I mean,
I actually played with Todd out of Mankato, so that's where Todd is from. And I was at Gustavus in the late 90s for my college career, and so I would play league with Todd. Great guy. Just always steady. Kind of witty, dry sense of humor.
Nice draw we have here.
Really good. A little deep, though.
Yeah.
That's tricky. He either wanted that lined up on the reds or he wanted to be under the
We
red.
could get a really good view on this camera up here. If you look between all the static up on the camera, you can. That's my running bit.
Close to the button, so.
that monitor looks better if you're over there a little
It
bit
does.
farther
Yep,
away.
it
which is
does.
interesting.
The noise isn't quite as bad if you're a few sheets away.
Yeah. Well, we can't really. We'd have to run it back.
Watching these games at all sorts of different levels, I think it's
Yeah, I mean, if you freeze,
it's interesting seeing the body language
Yes.
of what's happening, and like particularly at the junior teams. Like I've watched both like Scott Clausen's kids play and Mike Barrett's kids play. And you can see those kids when they're doing well, you can see their smiles, and when they're doing when they're struggling, you can see it in their demeanor, which I think affects your play.
It does, and it's something, again, you learn.
Yep.
That's what kind of growing up in the sport does for you, though. The nice thing about that is it's transferable to a lot of your life. It's not just on the ice.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many job interviews you have a random question about something, and I pull out some curling anecdote, and they're like, oh, okay, I like that answer. And
do you ever, in a job interview, do you have where all your answers are curling related, and they're saying, do you have anything else to say that's not curling
No,
related?
I'm not quite that dorky, Chris, but.
Because I've done quite a bit of interviewing, and we have a kind of a behavioral style of interview that we've developed, and
Then he just pushes it back.
I get somebody, and creativity is one of our core values, whatever that means. But I'll ask someone the first question, and then the second one they'll say, like, oh yeah, going back to that first example, and then I have to edit it, and I have to say, I'm asking you this question. Do not use that previous answer. Give me something different. And people just like clam up. They can't
Think on
they've
cue,
got
kind
their,
of.
they've got their answer. And
Well, but maybe it's something because you're editing it. You could just say, I'm going to edit out. So just think for a minute, and
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. What I normally do is I pause the interview and I say, you're doing really poorly on this interview. If you don't...
Nothing like constructive feedback.
Yeah, if you don't get your act together, you're never going to get this job. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to leave the room. Come back. No, it's not like that.
Actually,
It'd be kind of nice, though, if people would do that, like a redo.
Yeah. Well, yeah, early on when I interviewed people, I have tried to, when I know, sometimes you just know that this is not a good fit. I actually have changed it. Now I do phone interviews of everybody ahead of time.
Oh, like a pre-screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so I can go through a lot of phone interviews, and you can usually find, that person's got the technical skill, I think, Now we can move on to the next one.
So what do you do for a living, Chris? I mean, I know you do Stonecast, but what is your...
Yeah, full-time Stonecat. No, I have Terrapin Curling is my deal.
Oh.
It's not a curling company; it's a computer company, Terrapin Technologies. But we have a curling division which supports a number of teams in St. Paul. It's at a small level, but
I had no idea. That's really cool.
People like that, and but that. I don't make any money sponsoring those teams.
Sure, you just...
So we do work for banks, particular and specific the investment services side of the bank. We do data aggregation and compensation calculations, some compliance work, a lot of audit work. We store customer data, so we spend a lot of time making sure that that's secure and held to the most rigorous standards and all that. So
I don't want to...
It's fun. Computer guy, that's what I do.
Yeah, that's good.
That would have been the short answer.
Is this always getting touched?
I'm getting better with my geeky terms, though. My husband's sort of broken me in on that, so it's okay. I kind of understood half of what you said.
So what do you do for a living?
I am a nurse practitioner. I work at a very small private practice in Woodbury, Minnesota, so it's about 15 minutes from here.
What?
And I do women's health care, so my master's is in women's health specifically, so I do about 70% prenatal care, and then the rest of it's just general health stuff for women.
My other thought of it is
And I'm fortunate enough to work kind of a part-time 3.5 days a week, which serves our family well. My husband's traveling a lot, and my daughter needs to get off the bus and all that jazz.
You think we're for sure going to get one of them?
So here, let's go back to the game for a moment. So we had a great draw by the yellow team here. Skip's first shot, and so now the Stopera rink's trying to decide if they're going to maneuver that stone it off or just going to guard it. He really doesn't want to give up more than one here, and I think they've elected to throw the high hard one, which is available to him. He can see all of that and kind of come off that red stone in the back, and they should split them both off. He just wants to be careful here. He doesn't jam it and give him a shot for two. So again, another good team shot here. They had the consensus with all of them, and then everybody's on the same page here for what kind of weight and the ice call. Really important to practice these kind of shots because, again, when you get that big lead early, there's a long game ahead.
I think these shots, when they're all grouped in like that, and we've had a number that have been like this, It's amazing to me how people can look at it and see what they're going to do.
Yeah, I've never been super great at all the angles. I've struggled with that for many years. I've played with a lot of good people. That's an excellent shot.
Yeah.
Great result.
Yeah.
But that is what it takes, is to really be good at those angles. And then, you know, they practice all the time throwing those high, hard ones so they can accurately throw that hit weight.
Well, and they probably, you know, learn how to, you know, go through an analysis. You might be wrong at the end of the analysis, but go through the analysis and then go run the test and then look at it and say, like, well, this is what actually happened.
Yeah.
And they have so many games that they do it over and over and over that it
becomes a lot more routine. Yep.
I do find just doing what I'm doing here, I learn a lot. So.
Oh, I bet. I actually really like sitting in front of YouTube, you know, on a cold winter's day.
And you said you're not a dork.
I am a dork. I am a dork.
I could just imagine on a cold winter day, snuggled under my comforter.
But I use my geeky husband because then he broadcasted the TV, which I would never be able to figure out on my own. But man, those Apple TVs, I pay big money for those things.
Well, you know, they're all the same price everywhere. You don't have to pay more money in one place. So.
Well, this is true. I'm just saying, like, that technology that has sit on your rinky-dink phone and now it's on my big TV. Oh, nothing that I like.
Do you know
better.
the Arnolds?
I do know the Arnolds.
Yeah, so I went to, we interviewed in Stonecast, we interviewed Dick and Paula at Drew and Lori's house.
Oh, so fun.
And we went there and they were streaming, all their big TVs had streaming curling.
It's just great. I mean, gosh, curling's just come so far.
So all right, so what happened? I wasn't paying attention.
Another big steal. Stopera stole 3 there.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure. It's interesting because he had a couple ideas there. He could have just tried to draw the button, but again, he went for kind of a soft hit and came through. Should we look around the rink here? It looks like we've got a runaway game on 4. The brown rink is.
I felt kind of bad earlier. I was listing off. There's 4 teams here that are going to the Olympic trials, and I couldn't think of Brown just off the top of my head, but it's Burr, McCormick, Brown, and Brady Clark.
Oh, Brady's here playing. I guess I didn't look that closely at all the draws.
Well, he's not. He did the earlier.
Okay. So he'll be on later.
Hey, nice job. Good luck tonight, okay? Thanks.
So they're conceding here on sheet 5, our feature sheet, so we'll be switching to a different game to commentate.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll just cruise through the scores just so that we can kind of level set and we can figure out where we want to shift to. It always tends to be like we end up going way over there and it's super hard to see, but that's usually where the interesting games are. So sheet 1 is Koivula is up 5-2 over Todd Burr's squad. Sheet 2 is it's a 1-point game with Rittenauer over Sobering. Sheet 3 is tied up, Wilberg and Leichter. Sheet 4 is Brown. Brown's, like you said, 5-0 over Hodek. Our team, Andrew Stopera, was the winner over McBride. And sheet 6, it looks like Fenson is up quite a bit, 5-1 over LeClaire.
Now, where on sheet 1 playing Burr? I'm not familiar. Is that team a Canadian team? Where is that team?
Koivula, yeah, they're from Thunder Bay.
Okay.
Thunder Bay. I like the Thunder. I've got relatives that live in Thunder Bay, so I always like to see the Thunder Bay teams. But
I've actually only been up to Thunder Bay once to play, and it was ironically with Maureen Stolt when she was still Maureen Steinley. Her first year in St. Paul, she was living.
Steinley.
Yep, Steinley. So yeah, we went up there with Tim Gartner and Nick Myers, and
Steinley's a German name, I'm guessing.
Could be.
There was someone up here, Nick Stein something, Stein, and he said Stein means rock, which I said, well, that's appropriate. So Steinley is Maureen Rockley.
There you go.
Speaking of geeking out, when I took a break on the last draw, when Sydney and Scott were talking, I went over and I talked to Maureen about Scrum Masters, product owners, developers.
Okay.
I told her I want to talk about this later, and then we spent 20 minutes talking about it.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Sheet 3, they're posting the score for the fourth end. It looks like Leichter.
Yeah, it looks like sheet 2 and 3 are the interesting games right now.
I agree.
As far as what's going on. So which one should we pick? Well, I think sheet 3 probably has a little bit more significance to the overall. So it's Wilberg is 2 and 2 in the yellow, and Leichter is 3 and 1 in the red.
Okay, let's focus on that game for now. Then I can kind of see both of those easy enough. So let's see if we can come up. So we've got Richard Mascal here throwing for Willie Wilberg.
Look at you. Know these people.
I know. I still know a few people. It's interesting though, because every once in a while, though, like even on Craig Brown's team, I didn't realize that Jason Smith and Evanson, is that his other teammate? I don't know. I didn't know.
So who did you say was his lead?
On
Wilberg?
Yeah, Richard Mascal, the tall guy.
So he was on sheet 5 earlier in the day, and he had his draw kind of dialed in there.
Oh, he is the draw master. That guy has played he's got a little book. I don't know if you've heard of the Mascal book. He's got a book. He writes every shot he ever threw down in this book. It's amazing. And he has played.
What do you mean he'd be writing all the time?
Yeah, he does. He writes. I'm telling you, ask him. He writes.
Now, I have a book that I also is called a Mescal book, and it's of all of the bad tequila that I've ever drank.
Well, I'm hoping it's
We're
not
doing
quite
3.
as long of a list as Richard Mascal's curling shots career.
I like to go for those really easy jokes.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. I'm kind of, I don't always get the dry humor, so forgive me. I'm kind of like, what?
A lot of people don't,
Yeah.
actually, yeah. When I first started doing this, and I don't know, this probably is my 20th or 30th game commentating, Erin, my wife, would text me. She said, I don't think any people understand what you're saying. Like, they don't get that. Like, it's hard enough when you're in person.
You would actually do better to comment. My brother Tom is hilarious and witty. Like, he would be really good asset to you. And he's a computer guy too, so he would know.
No, you're great.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in terms of the wit factor.
Yeah. Well, this is I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Well, I appreciate that.
The other people, like that Scott Belvich, I've talked to that guy forever. Like, there's no story he knows it all.
So we should ask the viewers here, how are we doing? Is there something they want to hear in the commentary? Is there?
Well, apparently we only have one viewer that actually knows how to type. And that's Rebecca.
Okay.
And then we have another one called Mafia Game Free that really likes us as well.
Cool.
But we blocked Mafia Game Free because they were spamming us.
So it looks like Leichter's got a pretty good setup here. Is Leichter red or is Leichter yellow?
Leichter is red.
Okay, yeah, he's got a really good setup on sheet 3. Are our cameras on that side of the rink now?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Yeah, Wilberg's in a bit of trouble here. They've basically got the front of the house covered up, and Leichter's on the steel, but he's got a really good setup for
coverage here.
Oh, nice.
Kind of.
Maybe here.
Yeah.
Reach that
Oh
far?
yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Jeez. Well, what are you doing here? There you go. There.
Okay. Let's see if we can. Technical difficulty. All right.
I think you can see it.
Yeah, it's right. He's right here.
Yeah.
So it looks like Leichter came down and put another tight guard in there.
Yeah, so this isn't live. This is like 15 seconds
Oh,
behind what we're seeing. So
okay, that makes more sense. But this is what the audience is seeing then?
Yep.
So we can't commentate in
Yeah,
real
you can't
time?
commentate on that.
Okay.
That might be entertaining, though. Yeah, but sometimes looking at that, you can kind of see a little bit what's going on down there.
Right.
It would be really cool, actually, if we all had like little wireless tablets and we could actually see the actual, this is going out to YouTube and then restreaming. But if we could actually just see we probably could figure that out. That would be good.
You just got technical on me, and I don't know what you said.
Yeah, we could make it better.
Okay. That I understand.
If somebody would write a big check. No, that's not true.
So looks like Wilberg snuck one in there on the side of the forefoot, which was a really great shot here. So Leichter has no choice really but to follow him down.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. So there's a guard up there.
There's a guard up there. I don't know if he can get around that with any sort of weight or if he's just going to draw on top of it. Be nice if he could get in there and just tap it back a little bit so he'd have that second counter behind, but Leichter is trying to steal here. So kind of any movement, as long as he can get shot rock, would be great. Just the outside, so we need to curl a little bit more.
Yeah.
But a reasonable attempt.
I actually thought that was going to be light, but it wasn't.
You know, these sweepers can just really carry. Oh, looks like we have handshakes on the brown rink, with Craig being victorious. I don't know if.
So Brown will improve to 4-1, and Hodek will drop to 0-4 or 0-5.
So does 4-1 get you in?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, unless there's another 4-1, I. Wait a second. Let me find my draw sheet here.
Okay.
I can tell you this. I know that. All right. So they are in McBride. So Brown. So Andrew Stopera is 4-1.
Yep.
And Brown is 4-1. And so if Leichter wins, so only 2 of these can go in. So if Leichter wins, he'll be 4-1. So there'll be a log jam at the top. And
Because only 2 per bracket. Oh.
Yep.
Handshakes for Brown here. They're all holding hands. Smitty's giving him a little. It's good. So is Evanson, this guy, new to the Brown rink this year?
I wouldn't know that information.
All right.
Maybe Mark will answer that. Mark, we have a technical or a curling question to ask you.
So is Evanson new to the Brown rink this year, or has he been playing a couple years with Brown?
I was with them last year.
Okay.
They're extra as their spare.
As their spare, okay.
And so, I don't know exactly what they do for rotation.
Sure.
Sean
Baton, that's who it is. That's what I was expecting to see here. Okay. All right, so we got some clarification there. So they have a 5-man team, and Sean Baton was playing this morning, and now Evanson's in or was in. Again, see, I've been out of the world a little bit, so I don't always know everybody.
So this actually, the game that we did choose to flip over to, it has quite a bit of significance. If Red can pull out a win, then there's going to be a 3-way tie, 4-1.
So he's
the top of the A pool.
A little deep there. Let's see what Will or Willie? I always call him Willie.
It is Willie, yeah.
Okay. I think he's looking to take out some guards here and get access to the forefoot, because
I really enjoyed him on the microphone. I
Oh,
went
is
down
he?
and I told him. Yeah, he doesn't say a lot, but I really liked he was very firm when he came in and told this team what was going on, and just his phraseology was great.
Okay. See, I thought you were going to say he was super witty. Like sort of your.
Yeah, no. Well, I wouldn't say he's not witty, but he said things like he used the term, should we do a bailout shot or should we bail on this, or like if there's a lot in the house, he might just try to say well, if they're scoring 3, we're going to do something to get it down to 1, so a bail.
Okay.
He just had a little, I don't know, just whatever.
Yeah, it's good.
It just appealed to me.
It's good. I everybody explains things a little bit differently, and that's.
I went down and talked to him to tell him that when I collected the mic, and I said, well, you heard it. I think you've got a career in broadcasting, curling, and he said, well, 20 years from now, when I am just at top of the curling commentating game, he said, I'll think back on this moment and I'll credit you. And I said, thank you.
That sounds like a witty Willie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Willie's just a few years younger, like kind of the generation down from me. So I never played directly with him, but I definitely know of him. Smooth Leichter delivery here. He's got kind of one more shot here to kind of sew up access to the forefoot. And then Will will still have an out-turn draw into the side of the forefoot, maybe to cut him down if he makes a good guard here. That's not a great guard. So Leichter wanted to be a little bit closer to the center line there to cut off a little more access. So I think Will or Willie can get down to the four. He's got a couple avenues through there to count one. And those are the shots there, you know, that it's great to, it's one of those things where in finals or at nationals, when you really got to make it count, it's all about rock placement, right? Like he could have had that just over the hog line, but he needed it closer to the center. And it just didn't quite work out for him. So let's see if Willie can sneak one in there to take his one. Otherwise, I think it's going to be is it two, or do you think that back yellow one is out counting the third red one?
Well, I would guess, just looking at the YouTube video here, it looks to me like the yellow one is out counting. But
oh, yes, you're right. Thank you. I forgot we had this other viewpoint.
I don't know if that's accurate or not, but.
No, I think it is.
Now we've zoomed in. I just want, you know, all the typers out there. We can't see the comments anymore because I've zoomed in on the video to assist us.
Gotcha.
But because we've done that, you're probably going to notice that the quality of the commentating is going to go higher. We're going to be able to, you know, give you deep cuts.
I like it. I like it. And then even well, the house on sheet 2 is pretty interesting as well. Let's see, oh, Willie's looking a little hot. And he's just hanging up on that guard. So that'll be a steal of 2 for the Leichter rink. Just couldn't quite. Oh, am I wrong? Oh, excuse me. There's another 2 shots to come. I was premature in my calling there.
Yeah, so sheet 2 is Rittenauer and Sobering, and they are in the pool B, and there's a whole bunch of log jams in pool B. So Burr was 3-1. They'll drop to 3-2. Fenson was 2-2, and so they're playing on 6, and they're ahead. So if they happen to win, then they will go to 3-2, and LeClaire will go to 2-3. Sobering is 0-4. Rittenauer is 2-2. So if Rittenauer wins on sheet 2, or they're yellow, he'll go to 3-2. And yeah, I think I pretty much covered it.
So it looks like Todd Burr here. Pretty open house that he's drawing to, with yellow counter in the back 12 foot under a long, medium 2 guard here. See if he can get under his own guard. Struggling. Looks like he's got Jim Ivey from St. Paul, maybe?
That's true, yep.
Is he subbing in for the weekend?
Yeah, so they're they got selected to go to the Olympic trials,
which I think is just fantastic. They are such an amazing team, and they definitely deserve to be playing that level.
And so they're third in nationals. It's Richie Roonin.
Yes.
He signed up, jumped ship, signed up for the McCormick squad to give them some veteran leadership. And so they pulled up Hunter Clausen, who's not playing this weekend.
Oh, okay. Hunter just couldn't make it over here. Where is Hunter out of? He's not from the cities?
He's from the United States.
What? I figured that. But
yeah, I actually I don't know.
Okay.
I should know, but
I know the name, and I know I've seen him on the circuit.
I think he's out east.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And for those people that know a little bit more of the story, my dad plays a lot with Artie Ruonen, which is Richie's dad. And I know early in the summer when Richie got the call and the offer, he definitely went to his team and talked about it. And it wasn't as if he just said, "Hey, I'm doing this." They said, "This is your chance. We have no idea if we're going to be called up to play. So, take it while you got it." So I don't think it. I mean, jumping ship, yes, it looks like that, but really.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said it that way. But the thing is, what's interesting to me is that Runin played lights out in the Nationals. I don't know if you watched any of
I
that.
did.
But
Yes, he played amazing.
He was amazing. He
yes.
was, yeah. So
I do hope he gets the opportunity to play. I mean, I know he's listed as their 5th. I really hope they're going to let him show it. You'll bring his expertise to the table. And Richie's worked a lot in his game for the last, 15, 20 years. And part of that early, I grew up a little bit with Richie. He was a little bit older than I was, so I was kind of into juniors when he was kind of aging out or going to college and that kind of stuff.
Makes sense that he did juniors.
Yep. Oh yeah, he grew up in this club, and both he and his brother did juniors, and
he plays on Tuesday nights, and he plays in the Open League with
Mark Wilmert.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Anyway, so and it's not controversial really, but last year they wanted him to play in the competitive league because they needed an extra spot, and he wouldn't do it, and he just basically ran the table with us open curlers, but I curled him the very last game.
Check the chat. There's some answers to some of your comments.
All right, we're gonna get some answers, but anyway, so he played and he didn't totally blow us out of the water, but he firmly had the game in control. But I played the full 6 end because it was the last game of the year, and I told him, I'm not going to shake until 6. I'm sorry. And I said, but in Nationals, I heard everybody calling you Dr. Double, so I'm going to work on setting up doubles for you. I'm going to call my team to do that. And
that's perfect.
He missed a lot of doubles.
That's all right.
I put a lot of pressure on him.
Well, part of it too, I always tell people, club curling is a lot different than competitive. So you're calling doubles with no sweeping. I mean, and he plays with good sweepers. Don't get me wrong. Sorry, Kevin.
No, he plays with Wilmert.
Wilmert and Kevin Johnson, right?
Yeah. Wilmert can't sweep.
Oh, but Kevin can. Kevin is a beast.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes.
So Hunter is from the Potomac Curling Club. Actually, there's a curler on my Sunday team who came from the Potomac Curling Club. She says great things about it. And Hunter is in Mixed Worlds.
Oh, that's a good.
Look
that's
at all
right.
these additional people that can type. I
do remember this story because I remember Todd saying good luck at the Worlds and hope he comes home with a medal. So, well, Hunter, hope you're kicking some butt over there.
I'm sure that he's watching.
Oh, I'm sure.
Where are Mixed Worlds?
I don't know the answer to that. Perhaps somebody online will.
I'm going to guess
us.
that Mixed Worlds are in Fiji.
Probably not.
The Fiji Curling Club. I have a exchange student coming next week, I think, or the week after, October 17th from Guatemala. She's a 7th grader.
Oh,
Her
fun.
name is Melanie.
How long will she be staying with you?
She'll be staying. It's not really an exchange student. Nobody's going back, but I don't know how to say it in another way. Yeah, she is going to stay for 8 weeks until middle of December, and I'm really excited. And she and her family are too. I'm going to bring her down to juniors, and so she'll curl, probably 5 times maybe. I told her dad that now that the Olympics have curling, she can, she can probably get really good at it and form the first Guatemalan curling team.
Hey, you know what? If Jamaicans can bobsled, Guatemalans can curl.
Yep.
What is
there
this?
we go. It's in Switzerland.
There we go.
Champery.
Oh, I'd love to be in Switzerland right now. What a great time of year.
I'd like to be in Switzerland any time of year.
Wow.
I think.
Tell me, your exchange student, is that from like a school thing or a church thing or just a private?
Yeah, it's through school. They asked at school, and Erin, my wife, did that. She spent time in not the Dominican and Nicaragua and Costa Rica when she was in high school and college, and so she's always wanted to do that. And so when the opportunity came, we jumped at it.
Well, that's awesome. My daughter is in kindergarten this year at L'Etoile du Nord, which is the French immersion school in St. Paul. So we will.
Dying language, by the way.
Yeah, dying. Yeah, well.
No, that's not true. We're in France, and I really wish that I knew French. It's a beautiful language.
No, yeah. So we're pretty excited. They do have interns in their classroom, so every year they have like 20 interns for the whole school, and they'll be looking for people. All right, we should get back to curling here and see what's going on.
Yeah, that's a good call on that. So it looked like Leichter did get 2. So
yes.
He's in firm control.
He's in the driver's seat on
which
that one.
Means that my hope of not having a tiebreaker at 10:30 tonight. That's when the tiebreakers are played.
Oh, wow. You got late nights.
Yeah. But, it's just like, this is just like doing a Bonspiel, except that you play every single draw.
Right. So Burke and
I did get somebody. French is not a dying language. I know. That's probably the, that's someone who possibly fell for my dry humor.
Possibly.
And the female announcer apparently is awesome. Great. Good job.
Thank you. Who are you?
Adil Ahmed.
Oh, Adil. So I got a shout out to my Selby family neighbors. So we have this most amazing block.
Oh, wait a minute. You brought fans?
Well, I brought fans. I told everybody it was my commentating debut. So yeah, Selby family. We have a great time on our block. We have about, I don't know, what do you think, Adil? 13, 14 kids. And we have this little WhatsApp deal, so we just text out what you're doing, and it's Insta Playdate every day.
WhatsApp?
WhatsApp. It's like just a link communication site. Yeah.
That's incredible that you say that, because that is the application that the Guatemalan family told us to connect with, and that's how we have been communicating.
Aha. Yep. It's
WhatsApp.
It's a good deal.
It was kind of a weird setup, though, the WhatsApp, because they said, well, they gave them they told them about us on like the middle of September, and we set our original call. So our family and their family sat on the couch in our respective homes and kind of interviewed each other. It was a little weird.
Did you Google each other before you met on WhatsApp?
Well, I don't know if they did, but I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found out that Melanie's dad. I don't speak Spanish. Aaron is very good at Spanish, but Melanie's dad works at some sort of car dealership.
All right, so sheet 2.
Apparently I am awesome, too. Chris with the K, though. Just
to clarify? Okay.
Well, yeah, just that way I'll feel like there's a lot more love in the room.
Excellent. All right, so let's go back to our scoreboard here. We've got the fence and rink firmly in control. Sean, the third, is throwing an open hit here.
So Fenson is going to move into a 3-way tie, and Fenson beat Burr, so there'll be a tie. If they go by tiebreakers.
Okay.
I know that if there's a 3-way tie, what happens is the tiebreakers determine who's goes to Sunday, and then the remaining 2 do a play down.
Okay.
Because if they want to make sure that everybody has to have at least 2 losses or something like that. I can't remember their.
Okay. So it looks like Leichter just missed a peel on sheet 3. It was trying to peel off their Wilberg's corner guard.
I can't even see that corner guard.
Yeah, it's right behind the post there for you. But Willie's got a better setup here for this end for a possible
3.
Multiple. Well, not 3, but he might be able to score a deuce. He's got enough junk kind of going, and he's got his corner guard.
Yeah, our game ended so early. I'm used to going over when it's like on the 7th or 8th end, and we have a lot of curling left.
We do have a lot of curling left. We got 3 games still going here. Kind of depends. I don't see Red coming back here. They don't have a lot to work with.
Yeah, that's Rebecca is, I think, probably cares about 6. Leclerc is not in the driver's seat.
Yeah, interestingly enough, so it's fun to see Sean Rojeski back playing with Mr. Fenson. I know they played together for years and years and years, and I think Sean took a couple years off. I think Pete actually took a year or 2 off, right, to do the high-performance coaching thing, and then he's been back playing, but I don't think Rojeski was playing with him last year. I think this is his first year back. Correct me if I'm wrong here, audience.
Yeah, thank you for not having me correct you, because I would defer to almost anything curling related that you would say.
But it's pretty fun because he's got Alex, his son, his older son, and then Alex's buddy Fenner here from his old junior team. So that's it's neat. We can get some family competition going, and I'm sure Sean enjoys playing with Alex too because he's watched him grow up.
Last year we called the finals of the International.
Yeah.
And that was super fun, and it was Fenson versus
Nunberg, right?
Yeah, Nunberg, and everybody was watching, had the stream going downstairs like they had, and then so we ended up doing the audio. So we ran the audio out of the board, and we had a loud audio, and it was really fun, like announcing in the crowd. And so Nunberg's kind of the home team.
Oh yeah.
And all the wives were there, and and I play against those guys, and so I gave them a lot of grief.
Oh, they're nice guys though. Oh gosh, great.
Yeah,
friends.
most of them are.
Yeah, I know. I hang out with Jen. Jen's son Theo is about 6 months older than my daughter, and so we've had a few.
I like that name, Theo.
Yeah. Their other son's name is Walter. They went for the presidential effect.
Yeah, I don't like that name. Just kidding, I do.
Oh, Leichter Stone here. See if he gets a. Ooh, right through. Oh, yes! What a shot.
Gets them both.
I don't even know if I can articulate what just happened on 3, but it was a great shot. It's kind of one of those touch 'em all Kirby Puckett.
Yeah, except for the one.
That's okay. That's
yeah,
his stone.
Yeah.
So Willie's not looking so hot here for a multiple anymore. See if he can hide a few behind his corner. Corner's kind of high though, so it's.
You sure did demolish that pizza.
Well, I don't want to chew into the microphone, and I don't mind cold pizza, so.
Yeah, neither do I.
Routine shot for Fenson here. I think he's
keeping it clean.
Take his point. Be up 4-2 after 6, and we'll see if his competition wants to keep playing.
He'll be up 6-2.
Oh, excuse me, 6-2. Up by 4. That's what I meant to say. So a shout out to my neighbor Adil. How you liking curling? You having a good time watching this, or have you watched? He's from Ottawa, so maybe he's already seen a lot of Canadian television.
I've got relatives in Ottawa too.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a very big town, so probably knows. No.
That's an impressive password there, Chris.
This is my work. This is from work.
I see.
Yeah. What's funny is that that's our developer laptop. So I think they stopped watching, or yeah.
That's fine. He was just humoring me.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like who's the team that Fenson's playing now?
LeClaire.
Okay, LeClaire. Looks like they've elected to keep playing the 7th here, and
why not?
Fenson.
That probably is their, if
probably their last game, right?
If they don't make it, yeah, it'd probably be their last game. Yeah. So LeClaire.
Which is good. I mean, there is something to be said about kind of making these more competitive teams kind of continue to show up and play. There does come a point where if you're winning by a handsome amount and you continue to keep playing, it's seen as a bit rude. But
Are you telling me that when Richie Runin was, I told him that we're playing to 6, I don't care what the score is, that was rude?
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's a whole different deal. It's Rich, but in major competitions like this, it depends on how the draw schedule is too, especially if you know that team that's handedly kind of rolling on you. If they're going to be playing in the next hour or two, it's kind of a courtesy to say, okay, you beat us, good luck, get on with it, and give them some rest. Mm-hmm. In this case, I don't think they play again, right? Or they play a tiebreaker tonight at 10:30.
Yeah,
is that how that goes?
Potentially it'd be Fenson, Burr, and Koivula would go to 4-1, so Koivula would be in.
Okay.
And then it would be Burr versus Fenson, I think, and Fenson defeated Burr, so it might be Koivula and Fenson moving on, so they might not play actually. Let me see what the other teams. It seems like we should have a much more technology-oriented version of this, but.
Okay, so
LeClaire is 2-2, so they'd go to 2-3. Rittenauer is 4-1, would go to 4-1.
So on sheet 3 here, Willie Wilberg has gotten his.
Oh, wait a minute, Koivula. So Koivula's in the same thing, and they're at 4-1. So if Leichter wins, he would be at 4-1. So it'd be Koivula and Leichter, and Fenson and Burr would go home. I think that's how that works.
Interesting. Okay.
But I that's like almost rocket science, so I'm sure I didn't do it right.
I honestly haven't even looked at the draw board or any of that. And the rules change from tournament to tournament. And so I don't, sometimes it's just all I can do to come down, throw my shots, play the game, and then figure out the outcomes later because you can't control it, right?
I kind of forgot this from last year when I did this. As you watch all these teams, they kind of fall into slots, and then it gets exciting. Like early on, you don't really think about like, oh, this is an important match because it sets up this or that. But then afterwards, you have that pedigree that you can be like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I watched all this develop, and then the placement does make a difference.
Yes, nope, I agree. And that is the fun retrospectively. As a player, it's just hard to get into that.
Yeah. It's kind of like watching a baseball series. Like if you go to all 3 games of a baseball series, it's a little bit different viewpoint.
No, but same kind of thought process.
Yep.
And maybe many competitive curlers sit there and run the matrix. They might do that and kind of pump themselves up from the more important games. I don't. That's not how I do my life. My clinic schedule, I show up every morning. I don't look at my clinic schedule ahead of time. I just see the patient, and then they leave, and I see the next one. That's how I run my anxiety level. I keep it low. Other people, they're looking at their schedule 2 weeks ahead of time, freaking out about how many patients and who they're seeing, and that doesn't work for me. So maybe other competitive curlers like to know what's going on for each matrix, but I don't work that way.
I kind of miss. I think that our. I'm not very. I mean, a lot of people aren't very happy, but I'm not very happy with how our healthcare system works, in the sense that, and it could be that I live in a bigger city, but I don't really have a doctor. Like I got to a point at one point where I was like happy because I had a doctor that I really liked, but then she moved to somewhere. And then they just assign you some doctor, and then I actually got irritated by that. So I was like, I kind of want to be able to choose my doctor. So I did a bunch of research, and then I found some doctors that I thought seemed like someone that I would want to be my doctor, but then they're not taking patients.
It is tricky. I agree, Chris. I have a lot of things to say about the healthcare system. That could be a whole other 2-hour podcast, but
done.
It's tricky.
Yeah, but I actually talked to, I don't know all the doctors, RNs. Then there's some other type of doctor which is not a doctor. That's
PA.
Like a PA. Yeah, yep. I don't know. So I had a PA for a while, and I really liked her. Well, I had her once, and I had that long conversation. Kind of like I laid that argument down with her, and she explained about how there really isn't time. The way that healthcare is set up, you have to, you're judged by, like how many appointments you can bill, and how good you are at coding, and all these different things. But I felt like I had a really good connection. Like I was like, okay, I think that she will be great.
And then she moved.
And then she moved.
Shoot.
She got me off all my medications. That was one thing I wanted. I was like, I don't want to take medications.
Well, good for you. You must have to make a few lifestyle switches to do that. That's excellent.
No, I just decided to accept the risk.
Oh, well, okay, but at least then you had somebody to inform you of the risk in a way that you can understand.
It's a high cholesterol. I have high cholesterol, and at the time, I switched to a vegan diet for a while, and that didn't really help. I don't know. Oh, it looks like we're getting requests to have you as a podcast participant.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we'll have to get that on the docket.
That sounds good. What does that entail?
Usually just Jordan and I we'll figure out a place to happen. You have at my house or Jordan's house or your house or the club here. And we set up some recording equipment, and we sit around and talk for an hour or so, and we just kind of go around the horn on different topics, and then it takes me about 3 weeks to get all the work done to edit it down to a 30-minute episode. It's fun. I like it.
It sounds like a good side project.
Yeah.
The work you've done so far, you've met a lot of great people, it sounds like, and
I really like the kind of the culture. Like, this club is really interesting that there's such a deep culture and deep connections between different people and history and family, and so it's just like in the Twin Cities area, it's just like a rich, bed of information. So I like that aspect of kind of unraveling that, and then I like the technological aspect. And
Absolutely.
So, and being really busy recently, last 6 months, I used to be really gung-ho. I'd do all the editing. I'd stay up in the middle of the night. I'd get it just the way I wanted, and I've given up on a lot of that, and I found ways to produce them. It still requires some effort from us, but some of the manual work I can farm out.
Yeah, and shortcuts are a good thing. You know, as a working parent, I agree that you know, you can't do it all and still maintain sanity. So I think it's good if you can figure out what to farm out and what you really need to take control of.
Yeah, I had to make some decisions about, like, I really care about the audio quality, and so that takes a long time. If you really care about it, takes me a long time, and so I had to kind of farm some of that out. I hired someone with the help of actually Dennis and Meg Abraham. They actually sponsor our podcast.
So great.
And so that really helps because they cover some of our. We don't have a lot of expenses, but you know,
they sponsor it with their business or just on their personal
but
side.
Then I have to give up control over the audio because there's no way I can communicate back and forth with a remote person.
Sure, absolutely. All right, so back to curling.
Oh,
thanks, Mike.
Mike just came up here to beat me up.
One of my fellow board members, and his daughter Marit plays competitive juniors here at the club. But it's always nice to feel like you're loved by your local hometown club here. Back to curling here. We got Leichter on sheet 3. So they are just kind of playing the peel game here. Willie blanked the last end, I believe. And yeah, he blanked the 6th, so he's retaining the hammer for the 7th. And Leichter's just trying to keep it clean. So he's peeling guards. On sheet 2, forgive me, I don't remember the names of people on sheet 2. What are they, Chris?
Rittenauer is in yellow and Sobering is in red.
Okay, that's still a pretty tight match here. Sobering is up 4-3, playing the 7th. And my daughter Gwyneth just showed up. Grandpa's got a new coloring book for you.
I could put Gwyneth on the microphone if she'd like to talk to her on the air for a while.
Do you want to talk?
You can put these headsets on.
It's your new coloring book from Grandpa.
I think that's a no.
She's quite the personality, but she does get a little bit shy under performance conditions. So
yeah. We can do it afterwards too. Ruby came up and she we turned out, you know, we weren't streaming and we had a conversation. It's kind of fun.
Oh, she might like that. We'll maybe do it at the end. Yeah. Too fun. Oh, looks like handshakes on 6 here. Fenson did win that match.
And so he'll go up to 3-2.
Now we're looks like Leichter's got 1 red counter in the top of the 4-foot. Now he's just slashing corner guards. See what he comes up with here. Again, this is one of those concentration factors. You're kind of up here and you're playing the 7th, and you just want to make sure you're hitting those guards in kind of the right angles. It's good practice.
I thought that I had this all figured out, but
You're not having it figured out?
No, because Fenson goes to 3-2, and if Rittenauer wins, he goes to 3-2. Burr's at 3-2.
Oh, so he did a pretty good job there. He cleared out both corner guards with that shot. That was a great shot by Leichter's team over there.
Koivula is 4-1. Yeah, this is just way too hard for me. We'll give you a recap next. I'll get Pete to explain everything to me.
That sounds good. That sounds really good.
Paris City Curling Club.
Park City.
Park City Curling Club.
I think that was one of the. Was that from the Men's International, or where was that? Okay. So this is my husband, John. This is Chris.
Hey, John. How's it going? Pretty good.
He's techie too, yeah.
We've had a very good. Yeah, you wouldn't know it by what I'm saying though. But every once in a while, I can slip into the jargon of.
We've enjoyed the conversation here.
Yeah, so this is we still got some important curling going on over here. So
yeah, we got so our last 2 games on sheet 2 and 3 here. Leichter is pretty firmly in control of N7 against Willie Wilberg. I think he's continuing to peel corner guards here and leaving his counter at the top of 4-foot. Another successful deal, and he just peeled his counter out as well, so which is just fine. That'll work just fine.
This is the way my brain works. When I have something that I can't actually figure out. I'm like, there's no way I can't figure this out. But
it'll all work out, Chris. It'll become clear here once you can concentrate on just one thing.
I know. Yeah, I'm concentrating on the wrong thing. So you cover that.
I'll cover this. Yep.
And I'll just shut up here for a second.
So it looks like red. So it looks like red's team. Okay, Jed Brundage then is playing on yellow. Jed Brundage is sitting in the house. I guess I know a few of the guys on the yellow team. Oh, working. Okay.
That's the Rittenauer team?
Yeah, I just didn't recognize the skip's name. I had never heard of that guy. But I do know it's working. And
did you guys see the comment on the deal here? Female announcers.
Oh, yeah. No,
it's from my neighbor.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
But thank you.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad when I got that comment about No, I didn't.
Too funny. All right, so we're back to the Leichter game here. Leichter's throwing an open hit here on one on the 12-foot. And then
I've got all that.
Willie's got the hammer.
If you've been listening, we've been talking about the comments.
All right.
You're going to get your pink slip on Monday.
Uh-oh. Looks like Jordan's going down.
That's actually Matt.
Oh, that's Matt.
Yeah,
Sorry. Who's Jordan?
Jordan is not here.
Okay.
He's in.
Sorry, Matt. All right, so that was an easy hit. And a blank for, well, no, Leichter just threw his hit and roll out. I'm thinking that Willie's going to, oh, this is Willie's first shot. Okay, so he's going for draw on the outside 12s on the other side. Change the shot up, which is a good thing to do at this level. Don't want to give a skip the same shot twice in a row. Sheet 2 here, there's a biter. Red's got a biter on the outside 12 in the upper part of the house. We're going to see what happens here for yellow. Chris is getting really quiet. Chris is really trying to figure out the matrix here for all the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that I can't figure it out. So Koivu is in, and then based on how these end up, if Rittenauer wins, and he'll go to 3-2, and Fenson is at 3-2, Burr's at 3-2, but they all have 2 losses. So I think that they'll go to like measurements and head-to-heads and things like that. So
they might not have a playoff then?
No, that's what I'm.
So you're thinking?
That's all I'm really looking for, is because I don't really want to commentate at 10:30, but I will. I'm committed to it.
So who do you have on for the 8:15 draw?
I have Julie Smith on.
Oh, Julie's great. You'll love her. She's a hoot.
Julie, I emailed. Do you know like email how I never met her before, and I didn't know her voice, but in email sometimes certain inflections come across.
Yes.
So I was emailing her. She was very helpful. She said, "Is there anything you can do?" I wasn't really communicative about getting this all set up, but they just asked if I'd do it, and I said yes. And so I went and I got a bunch of great tech guys together, and I got lined up people to commentate. I had it all. She said, "Is there anything you can do to help? Anything I can do to help?" And I said, "Well, do you guys have a media guide? Because it'd be nice to have a little book that had like, some history, who's played, the teams, because I do all this writing because I can't operate the iPad and talk." And she said, Chris, she says. She said, we're just lucky we have enough teams. And I was like, okay, there you go.
That sounds like a Julie comment. Yeah, Julie, oh my gosh, I played clubs with Julie for years, and we played at the national level as well, and she is just, she's so precious.
She'll know what she's talking about.
Oh yeah, she'll know what she's talking about. She's just a good egg.
A good egg.
Yep. All right, so we got Willie's got an open hit here. I don't know. I'm assuming he's going to hit and roll out here and retain his hammer for the 8th end. Down by 2.
He's down by 3, though.
Oh, is he down by 3? Excuse me. Down by 3.
But he's fighting.
Yeah, he wants to hit and roll out here and then retain his hammer for the 8th. All right, you better mute me, Chris, because I got to eat this piece of pizza.
Uh-oh. All right, just a sec here. Oh, connection lost. Just 1 second. I have to reconnect my iPad.
All right, I suppose I can wait long enough for you to reconnect the iPad.
Yeah, for some reason this thing, after a while, it'll time out from the network. Oh, it says it's connected. You are muted. So Sobering drew one into the house. Sheet 2. And it looks like Rittenauer's going to... Well, they're not taking it out. It's kind of a... I guess they're going to draw to it or do a guard on top of it. Oh, corner guard. Uh-oh. FOB. F an outside biter. Oh, great. Rebecca Clark said she'll be, well, she's in a different time zone. It's probably like morning in Arizona. I'll be here with you if you have to commentate a tiebreaker. I'm going to get Dean Gemmel to do it with me at 10:30 at night. I think he plays the next morning. But he was here last night at 1:30 in the morning, or 1. He owes me a whiskey. But I haven't had an opportunity to drink it. So this is pretty interesting. Seems like they're just doing corner guards here. Clearing it out. So yellow, Rittenauer has the hammer, I believe. Sheet 2. It's all going to go down here now. Downhill, Adam Height showed up and he started bringing out pitchers of beer for the Tech team. Don't spill that beer on the... Hey, Rick, do you want to jump on that mic and help me out here? I'm all by myself. We've got someone eating pizza here. Let me just pop that mic on. I think it's that one. Wait for it. Oh, my iPad locked up. This happens every once in a while. I don't know why. If I were like, doing Guns N' Roses concert or something, this would be absolutely unacceptable. Oh, Sobering kind of picked out their own rocks there. All right, now it has to load everything. All right, Rick, you are live now. Great job, everybody.
I can't hear myself.
Well, you got to talk in the front of the mic. That's the first thing.
Which side is the front of the mic?
Yeah, that's the front right there. Oh, no, now you went to the other side. Now, the front is right where the MXL is.
Okay. I still don't really hear myself.
Well, you got to put your headset on. How about now?
Yes.
All right, that's too loud. Rick and I used to work together. We're good friends. Our families hang out together.
We do, yeah.
The
we should get
only
together
problem
soon.
is that Rick is a dog person and I'm a cat person.
That's relatively new.
Yeah. All right, so we've got a lot of good action going on, and Rick actually probably has the best of the three of us, probably has the best view because he's got a camera he can look at. So we're looking on sheet 2, Sobering and Rittenauer. If Rittenauer wins 3-2, I think he goes into a tiebreaker. He's yellow. He's got the hammer. He's down 1, I think. That's what's going on.
Yeah, I'd love to have some overhead cameras because when they're calling the shot, you really can't see from the angle we have.
All right, I'm gonna turn Teresa back on. So we have Rick joined us now. Rick over on the.
Oh, perfect.
Hi.
Hey, Rick.
He said that he felt that your voice was like butter.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like butter. I like a lot of butter.
I've been using a lot of coconut oil recently.
Also very good. Heart healthy, especially for you said you have
Yeah.
a cholesterol deal.
Yeah, I like peanut butter jelly sandwiches with butter on both sides. But I recently replaced it with coconut oil on both sides, and it is also good. Different, though. It has a little bit of a tropical flavor.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that would taste so good, so
Yeah.
impressive.
I don't know. Maybe everybody's got different tastes.
All right, so we got some good action going on here. Sheet 2 especially. Sheet 3 is, he's going to have to work pretty hard here to get his 3 points, so I don't see that happening.
Yeah, seems like the action is on sheet 2 right now.
That's where we need to pay attention.
All right, I gotta turn down Rick's gain because we're picking up the entire house here.
Well, it's kind of loud acoustics up here. It always has been a bit.
Yeah, I find it interesting though. It's challenging there. See if we can still hear Rick.
I have to say something for you to hear me.
There you go. I can hear you.
All right.
So Lecter just going for the straight peel on the kind of the more open rock here.
Sobering came down to peel off that guard and it jammed on the red. Still up there.
Yeah. So give him a little more stuff to hide behind for yellow. So Willie, I think, is
so
going to...
it looks like it probably very likely will be an extra end, I'm guessing. There.
Well, maybe. You never know. Sometimes you get a chance to hide, too. And yellow actually has the hammer.
Yep.
So they've got a really reasonable end to get to. He can kind of strategically get one under. And Willie, it's going to be a struggle here to find 3, I think. I would say, so again, oh, now they're even. So now it's going to be a double kill, probably. Although the double kill would leave their red rock. So he's just going for the straight peel on the easy one here. The more open one. Oh, now he's looking at maybe the double. The double kill might leave the red one sitting there, though. It depends on the angle he hits it at and how
Sometimes
hard.
in club curling, when you do this, you can get the double, and then you can get the bounce back on the red on that edge there.
Right.
Yeah, and people won't be paying attention, and you can leave that in play.
Oh, and now he's...
I don't think that'll go over well here.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. And that's one of those things, again, as you get further into the game, you kind of learn... Once you can make all the shots, then it's a matter of, well, what's the best shot to try and make? And that's not always obvious at the club level early because you can't always make every shot, so you're just going to call what you can make. When you get to this level and you can make every shot, then you got to figure out what is the optimal shot.
The right shot, yeah.
Yep. And what does it leave you? And that's where you get the separation between the really good club curlers and the elite curlers. And it's always a learning process, always.
You know, if Jordan and I are working on a stone cast bond spiel, we thought that we might put together a bond spiel and only have people that have been on the podcast participate.
Oh, in the bond spiel.
In the bond spiel, and we thought it would be kind of like somehow we would do captains and we put together teams.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it seems like that might be a little expensive, but we'll get there.
How is this a couple years out? How many people have you had on the podcast?
I think we're on our 24th episode.
Okay, and you have about 2 people per episode, or I don't even know.
Usually just 1.
Okay.
We've had a couple, 2 people. Yeah. We've had a couple where we've done 2, but it's typically just one person. The last one we did 2. We did. We had Scott Clausen.
Yep.
And we had John Ordway.
Oh, really
and
fun.
They were talking about just renovations and things.
Yeah.
So
yep.
They're actually both really quiet people, so.
You had to pull a few things out of them. Yeah.
We got some good stuff.
Oh, I bet you did. All right. Well, the action is actually heating up here on sheet 2. So we've got a yellow under the yellow corner guard, counting second rock, and then we've got a red in the outer part of the 8-foot, counting as shot rock here, and it's red's delivery. So red's trying to figure out what the best case scenario is. And again, red is up by 1, and they do not have the hammer.
So now in my simple mind, I would be trying to take out either one of those rocks, thinking I'm going to try to take out the back one, but if I'm narrow, I take out the top one and it's okay. But they might do something fancy. What do you think they're contemplating over there?
It's interesting. I'm guessing I'm thinking they're just talking about the angles. Like they're probably trying to remove that guard, and they're just trying to figure out how do we make sure we don't jam it on our red, and where do we want our shot rock to end up once we hit that, is probably what they're discussing.
Great job, everybody.
Oh, so it looks like the Leichter rink did hand Willie Wilberg a loss here. And I think that allows the Leichter rink maybe to go on. We're still contemplating the matrix.
Yeah, so that means that Leichter goes to 4-1, so I think they'll definitely be playing on Sunday. Willie Wilberg will go to 2-3, and they'll be out. So let's see here.
We're waiting for Sobering's red, right?
Yeah, so on Pool A, I think it'll be Stopera and Leichter will be. Well, wait a minute now. No, Leichter will be. Let's see, now I didn't go that far. So Stopera goes to 4-1. Koivula goes to 4-1. Leichter goes to 4-1. Yeah, this is too hard.
So that's a tiebreaker then tonight?
Well, not necessarily. Yeah,
they do the head-to-head.
Yeah,
and all
not
that?
necessarily. I might have done bad math, but yeah, it looks like that would be a tiebreaker.
Okay. All right, so Sobering is away. He chose the in-turn. Doesn't look like peel weight, so maybe he's just playing a tap on the one in the house. Nope, he's got the guard. This is an interesting. Okay, so he's lining that up.
Huh.
That looks like a pretty juicy double for Brundage here.
I don't really know. It's Jed Brundage, right?
It is Jed Brundage.
I don't really know him very well. I've talked to him a little bit, but he seems like he's a character.
I think he's a character. I think he's kind of quiet, but I think once he gets going, he's a character. Yeah. I think that's Miles Brundage's son. So Miles is a player from way back.
Do you think that he has his dad's broom? That could be
a little heirloom action.
I'm kind of like that too. I'm really quiet, shy.
Somehow you don't strike me as that.
That's true, actually. Yeah, really? You got to get to know me. It takes me a while.
All right.
Unless I'm performing.
I see, and then you're dead on.
Yeah, no, then I'm just obnoxious.
Takes all types, Chris.
Yeah.
Takes all types. Oh.
As PJ Flex says, you need a lot of people to row the boat.
Absolutely. I think the guy's good. I think he's kind of worth it.
Do you think, now I didn't see the Gopher score, but I did see they had 2 touchdowns. It was like 14-6 at one point. I've been kind of busy. Do you know if they won today?
I don't know. That's when I came in here to commentate with you, and that was at the half, because I had him on for the halftime interview, and then I didn't see much after that.
Yeah, I like his energy. I as I'm getting a little bit towards the declining years here. No, but I realized that a person's attitude, like my family's very sarcastic and negative, and I mean, you just tend to look at things as half full or sarcastic, and that's not a good long-term strategy, I think, for success. I mean, you can be sarcastic and funny and things, but you got to look for the positive and you know, you got to look for, you know, the hopeful energy to be happy, I think.
I agree with that, and that assessment. Ooh, and he gets the double kill, and that's a win for Sobering. Oh no, excuse me. Yellow's got one more, so if Yellow can hit and stay.
Looks like our stream died.
So Yellow's gonna hit and stay. Oh, so we're not even. I'm talking to air.
We're still on air.
Just
okay.
The stream on my laptop.
All right, well, let's see if Jed can hit and stay here.
Yeah, then we'll get an extra end, and then I'm thinking we should run down there and have them move it over to the 5th, so it'd be more convenient for us.
Right, exactly. Yeah, somehow I don't think they're gonna go for that. Plus, they're shaving ice over here, getting all their ice maintenance done. So you have nice, good ice.
Those
for
guys.
the
It's funny. Well, let's see how this shot ends up first.
See, I always think he's going to touch the stone with his broom, and he never does, but looks like nice, easy weight. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, I think that's good. That line can be tricky, like unforgivable if you throw it too hard. Good. So extra end on 2.
Yeah. So I was thinking, like, I wasn't whining about it, but actually I feel like this weekend, so I went home last night I got home at, like, say, 1:30. I didn't really pay attention exactly the time, but I got up at 6 and got here by 7. I was pretty proud of myself. We had an 8 o'clock draw.
How much coffee?
I had a thermos of coffee, but it took me a while to drink it. Caffeine makes me jittery. It doesn't make
so not
me,
your thing, okay.
It doesn't make me awake. But I did drink coffee, and I've been drinking, you know, caffeinated Coke to keep me going. But I was like, I felt like good, you know, like, But then, you know, the ice makers, Craig came off the ice last night after doing shaving or whatever he was doing, and they sat over and had a cocktail, and then I left. And I got here, and they were here before I got here. And I thought, well, that's nothing. What I did is nothing.
Craig works very hard, and he has made amazing ice. He was a apprentice under Scott Belvich, and then he's kind of taken his own ice crew and really kind of perfected his systems, and he's worked really hard at that for the last couple years. I'm also on the ice committee, so I kind of get a report from Craig.
Oh, you are on the ice committee?
For now, yep. As part of the board, you get committee assignments, and so I'm kind of stepping away from that as the springtime comes, but for the last couple of years I've been on the ice committee, and it's really interesting.
Is Pete Westberg on the board?
He is, and he's on the ice committee.
Yeah, because we interviewed him early on, and he was really interested in the ice, and I think that'd be, if I were on the board, I think it'd be hard to decide what would be I would want to. What
you'd like to do.
What I'd like to do.
And when I came on, I don't know if it's this for everybody, but they just kind of assigned me, this is what you're doing, which was fine. I've actually learned a ton about compressors and socks and humidity, and it's interesting. Not necessarily my forte of things that I know about, but basically, if you don't have ice, you don't have a club, so you got to fund the ice maker.
Yeah, and it's interesting, talking to Craig, losing your ice plant is obviously disastrous during the season.
Yes.
And so he he gave me a tour a couple times in the middle of the night, and he showed me, I've got this backup system for this, and this is the backup system for that. And, it's very similar to how, computers, like we have a system that has to be running all the time.
Yeah.
So we have, backup for everything.
Sure.
You're always looking, where's the single point of failure? And you invest in that.
Yep, very much the same thing.
So now we've invested, the single point of failure is our ice maker.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so back to sheet 2 here. We've got a sobering stone on the top of the 8-foot. And now we've got a 1-2 guard by the other team. Team Yellow.
So now Sobering will have the hammer.
He will,
tie,
yep.
So that's obviously a distinct advantage.
So he's just going to keep peeling the center guard.
Yep.
If he can, yeah, he can. Or is he just playing the move? So he's just playing to move it over. He can't yet peel it out because he's still the lead stones. So this is and I don't think it's going to curl over quite enough, which is okay. This is okay.
Well, pretty soon here, I'm going to have to get into this gallon of whiskey that my friend Jason gave me.
Is that your drink of choice? Is whiskey?
No. Well, I do like whiskey.
Yeah. I'm more of a gin girl.
Oh.
What is your drink of choice, Chris? If not whiskey.
I like to drink from the Fountain of Youth.
Which is?
I don't know. Didn't
Mississippi River.
Yeah, the Mississippi River.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know, actually, I kind of don't like to say I have favorites of things. So.
Okay, I can appreciate that.
Yeah. But I think whiskey, just the generic whiskey, both with a Y and an EY, because I like bourbon, I like Scotch, I like rye, I like Canadian. Probably would be up there because I do like it quite a bit.
Excellent.
My go-to is Jameson if I'm ever at a point where I just can't decide which is a lot, or if I don't want to put the energy in to decide.
Yeah.
I do Jameson, which I can get in trouble with.
No, I understand. I prefer a lot of craft cocktails. Our neighborhood usually has a drink of the summer.
Nice. Well, I might have to move.
You know what? It's not a bad spot.
What was the drink of the summer this summer?
Moscow Mules.
Oh, yeah, with the copper.
Copper mugs, yep.
Now, why do they put it in a copper mug? I know you see that.
It's just, I mean, it does keep it a little colder, but also I just think for the ambiance of the drink. I don't know.
Does it really keep it colder because metal conducts
True,
heat?
it probably doesn't,
Yeah.
but it feels colder.
Yeah, it feels colder in your hand.
Want pizza?
Can I get some backup on that?
My daughter's here asking for something to eat. How about give me 10 more minutes, Gwyneth, and we'll get you something to eat, okay? Can you wait 10 more minutes?
Have some pizza.
She's not a chicken artichoke fan.
Well, who is?
I liked it. Finish coloring your
Have you ever had
animal.
spaghetti and meatball pizza?
That does not sound appealing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm talking about with the chicken and artichoke.
Oh, I thought it was great.
No, I'm sure it's good. You know, if they just called it a flatbread, it would be fine.
Well, you know, that's probably true. That's a good point.
I like the muffaletta pizzas that they have here.
The muffaletta is really good. I just was feeling like artichokes.
Yep.
Sounded good to me. Okay, so we've got 2 Yellowstones here. Yellow's throwing.
Oh, he's got some up there. And
He's got a decent house here. Yeah, it'll get a lot more complicated next year when they have the 5-rock free guard. It's going to make it really interesting.
Chris, how are these
so
two
it seems
teams
to me like if Rittenauer loses, I think if Rittenauer loses, they will go to 2 and 3, and then Koivula will be in, and then it will be between Burr and Fenson, and it looks like and Fenson beat Burr just earlier tonight, so I'm thinking that it would be Fenson and Koivula moving on, if I have my complex math figured out.
Okay. I think your other commentator here had a question.
Oh,
He answered the question.
Oh,
I was
okay.
going to ask where the teams sit and
what's the
how it's going to fall out.
There you go. See, he's like ESP there.
Yeah.
He just reads your mind. Okay, we're looking for a peel here on the red center guard. And he does get the peel. We've got.
So now are they going to try to put a high guard up, do you think?
I would think so, yep, because he wants some cover.
Yeah, and you don't want to make it so you can do any kind of double or, you know, if they're going to peel, just give them one peel away and then you replace it.
Exactly. And he's already got 2 counting stones, so. Yeah, yellow's looking pretty decent here for a steal.
Uh-oh, someone just stole some pizza. I think that's okay, though. It's getting loud in here, isn't it?
It's actually, these headphones are great. Can't really tell.
Yeah, I don't know. From you know, an audience perspective, I don't know if the noise is distracting. I try to have the gain appropriate. Could do a little bit more work, I suppose.
I have to ask. Yeah, I don't know. Yellow looking good here. Oh, maybe a little deep.
Yeah.
These are gonna be too close together for the double kill here. That's too bad. And Jed expressed his dismay there with how close those are together. It's kind of a bad break for yellow because they really had good control of this end.
Yeah.
So is this a pair of pants?
No, it's not.
Not quite.
They don't look parallel.
Not quite, but it's a pretty routine double and then roll over.
I think a pair of pants is kind of defined by the way you would hit it is in the crotch.
That's correct.
And this one you would hit the lead rack. I wonder if it could get a triple. I wonder if that yellow could hit back.
And I don't know that they don't need the triple. They do need to get rid of both yellow guards.
Interested.
And I think he shows a good turn here because then his shooter spins away.
Yep. Oh, but that one yellow rolls in.
That doesn't matter. At this point, the game is in the 4-foot. That one on the side is not going to come into play. You're going to score it in the 4-foot.
Now, last night when I was with Scott, I kept on talking. We had a similar end like this, and I kept like, he's sitting 3 right now. That's got to be demoralizing to the other team. And Scott was my whole bit. Scott's like, no, it doesn't make any difference. I'm like, it's got to make a little bit. No, makes no difference.
It's basically first end. It doesn't matter. You have to be the person in the button.
I know.
But I get it from an outside perspective looking in, going, oh my gosh. That's why they say the skips earn the big bucks, because you got to be able to hit the 4-foot every time. So yellow's got some opportunity here to throw in a good center guard.
Oh, Rebecca has seen Daryl Sobering make a quad hit to clear the house.
That's cool, but
yeah.
I'm assuming there weren't many guards up when they did that. All right, let's see. This looks open from my vantage point.
Yep.
I'm thinking he can get the double here. Or at least he can kick the one on the center line over. I don't know if he can double him or not, but I can see why you sit on the stool. My butt's kind of starting to hurt too with these chairs.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the stool has, well, I think it's helped my back. My back just tightens up on those chairs.
Yeah.
With no back on a stool, if you lean back, you end up falling off the stool. So in order to do that, you have to support your back.
Right, so you got to engage your core.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of yard work earlier, and I don't know if I was engaging my core too much.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. Red's away,
yeah,
Sobering.
Stone is cast. Well, they're switching sides on the sweeping, so that's good. Good sign.
Just nosed it.
Yeah.
So he didn't quite get the kick over. Doesn't harm him, but doesn't really help him because now he's not sitting shot, and they've got a center guard up. I mean, yellow could elect to just guard that. They could hit it. I don't think it's good enough yet, though. I mean, they shouldn't score. You always got to think at the very end of the end, can they get to the 4-foot closer than where they're at? And those still are not going to be the scoring rocks.
Yeah, but what do you do to defend? I
think if you're yellow, I think you throw up another guard. I don't know. That's
the thing is that, not having the hammer, you're just a draw away from losing.
Right.
You can't prevent everything, I guess.
You can't protect everything. I mean, the hit and stay right there is not a bad call. You still got a center guard up.
Yeah.
The hit and stay there, actually, they're staggered and such that the double is really hard. So the hit and stay would be okay as well. What is our commentator over there? You have a better angle of that. What do you think?
He's not looking at the TV. You're looking at the.
I was not.
I'm on the website, honey. I'm on the webcast.
Hey, Rick,
yeah.
Smoking pot at the curling club is strictly forbidden. Not in Colorado, though.
He's got a smile on his face.
In Colorado.
Yeah.
All right, so he's elected to hit and stay. It's not a bad shot call. Does stagger him a little bit, so it's a harder double.
I think I'm going to mute Rick's mic just because
Yeah.
I think he's picking up a lot of this on his mic. I have him on is kind of, or not. Maybe that's just, I hear that noise.
I hear the noise too, but I don't think the webcast is
Here,
hearing
let's
it.
try this. Yeah, I just think we hear it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's okay.
All right, Jed delivers his rock. Very close to hitting that with that stick.
I know.
If I were on his team, I'd take that stick. And, no, I wouldn't. So he's going to do a hit and stick, like you said.
All right, so he hit and rolled away, which wasn't really what he wanted to do, and he's a little frustrated with himself.
Yeah, that doesn't help the cause.
Not really. Although I don't think, I mean, his other shot rock is under cover.
Yep.
So I wonder if at this point, do you just go and draw under? Like he's motioning here. Do you just say, I don't care, they're yellow guards, I'm just going to go ahead and draw under now with my opportunity?
Yeah, that would be an aggressive play.
Well, but here's the deal: is like he doesn't have he can't peel him. He's going to have to find draw weight at some point.
Yep.
Thinking now is the time to do it. That's what my dad would always say. First draw to practice, second draw to make it.
There's not. Yeah, that's why I like doing three. When you do three-handed and you get to three-handed, that sounds like we're playing smear. Three, whatever. You're curling three and you get to throw 3 rocks. I like that because typically. I'm consistent enough that when I miss on the first one, if I get to do the exact same shot, I'll make the second one. But if I get to make the shot 3 times, I get to try it 3 times. The third time, I'll definitely get it.
Yeah, that's good. Yep. Although playing three-handed can be kind of killer on the sweepers. It's great for throwing, not so great for sweeping.
Well, this is pretty exciting, actually, and.
So what have they elected to do? It looks like it looks like a hit type of.
Do you think the teams out there realize the significance about this?
What do you mean?
About the significance of this game, about as far as the seeding goes.
I bet. I mean, I'm thinking they probably do.
Look at the house over there. You see Burr's Rinks over there. Well, everybody's over there. This is big time.
Well, it's always fun to watch like the last draw out there, and especially when it's close.
Yeah, but they're on the edge. If I'm right,
they're best in the outcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So red sitting 1 under cover.
Child on the run. Child on the run. Wish I knew the rest of the words, but child on the run.
Oh, nice singing voice, Chris.
Thank you.
Matt's telling me, don't egg him on.
I do requests.
Don't flatter.
Earlier, I was telling people that I play mandolin. I'm not very good, but I've been learning Scotland the Brave because I'm going to put a little ad on the bulletin board down here, and I'm going to offer my services to serenade people out on the ice for $5. It's going to just be, just give me a call. We'll schedule it. I'll come out and I'll play da 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 on the mandolin.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh, there I got 20. Yeah, for that I'll do it topless. No, I won't.
Wow.
Oh, I just lost the $20.
I think you're a cheap date there, Chris. Okay.
All right, back to matters of consequence.
All right, Jed's got a clutch draw here under cover. He needs to hit at least the top of the 4.
Uh-oh.
See what he comes up with. Sweepers are liking it. They're not pounding it. All right, now they're bringing it home here. Is it going to curl enough, though? Is it going to be under cover?
No, it looks like it's out to me, but this is where you might want to do a little kick.
All right, what does the camera shot look like over there? No. Open. Okay, they can see about half that rock, it looks like.
What? He's got to be able to see more than half that rock.
So
yeah,
this is going to be an open kill
I just
for
got
the win.
the IT department said I've got 2 giant glasses of whiskey, and they just said I have to start drinking it. But I do not cave easily to peer pressure. Yeah. Give it a little positive there.
All right, here we go.
And he misses.
No!
And he misses.
Oh.
What?
I'm not that I don't have a vested interest in the games. I just was surprised. Yeah. I didn't see that coming. I wonder if on his release he just.
Well, he did push it. I can't tell the angle, but I mean, most people push it on that kind of a shot.
Oh, gosh.
Wow. Huh.
An interesting end to that game.
Yeah.
Was not expecting that.
The last time I was speechless on a webcast was last night when. Scott Belvich told me that in Spain, is it Catalan or Barcelona is in Catalan, that they just voted 98% to secede from Spain. So that I was speechless because I didn't know what he was talking about, Catalan.
I'm not up on the world news. It's kind of depressing lately, so I've been staying away. But it's hard, you have those skips, and sometimes you're just making sure you put that little extra spin on it, or.
Well, Rebecca says that the positive push most likely pushed it off.
Okay. So I just didn't see the release very clearly on that.
Yep. So
sometimes you look away, you figure it's a kind of a gimme shot, but and then the ice, if you throw it out at all, it's not coming back. So
we'll be broadcasting at 8:15 next, and we'll be doing the women's match, Rhyme versus Farrell, and we'll be able to give you updates on where we are as far as tiebreakers go. I think that because of his loss, I think if I have this right, Koivula will play, and I think Fenson will make it. Burr will be eliminated by the tiebreaker. Could be wrong. And then on Pool A, Andrew Stopera and Leichter, I think, has made it in at 4-1. And then I think on Pool C, I think McCormick and Bill Stopera will make it on Sunday, although there's still matches in Pool C. And then Pool D, I don't really know. So I think Brady Clark probably made it, but I'm not sure about the other people. But I'll have that updated, and we'll continue this at 8:30. So Teresa, thank you.
Yeah,
it's a
thank you,
pleasure to
Chris.
meet you.
This is fun.
You're very good at this. So next time they'll probably ask you.
I don't know about that, but.
So all right.
Thanks, Chris.
Cheers.
Yep.